Hello and welcome to the second annual Brawlhalla World Championship Expo. It is 2017. We're here at Cobb Galleria in Atlanta, Georgia. It might be Sunday, but it's also the most important day of the weekend as this is the grand finals day. Top 32, top 8.
This is crunch time.
Yeah.
We're starting with top 32 for singles right now. I'm really glad that you clarified that it's 2017.
Yeah, just in case you don't because when you go back to the VODs and you're like, wait, what is that number between those guys?
If you can't read, that's fine. We got
it's
you
not
covered.
2016, not 2015.
If you accidentally have the beginning of the VOD muted, the sign has you covered. Like, you are going to know exactly when this is. What's your name?
I am Duke X fan.
My name's Sparky878. You have seen us and a handful of others all weekend. You've seen so many different players. You've seen so many different games. It's been a whirlwind, but like literally the best is yet to come. Like, it's only building from here.
Which is hard to fathom considering some of the caliber of players that we've seen throughout the weekend, some of the caliber of sets we've seen. I know Creed and I were on here yesterday, and we were just gushing about how insane these sets were. They were going down to the wire, basically one hit away from death. You and I were sitting behind Egg Soup on the off-stream tournament matches that he had to play, and we were so tensed up for it. There is so much insane stuff that has happened this weekend, but the cream of the crop has indeed risen to the top, and we've gotten our top 32 in 1v1s. 12 of them made it out of the waterfall to join the 20 who are already sitting pretty, who had earned their spots through regional qualifiers as well as circuit points. Do you want to list off the 12? It's on the messages that Raiden sent us if you don't want to have to like sift through that. Here, do you need me to do it?
I mean, go ahead. Go ahead. You got it. I believe in you. I mean, we could have just read off everybody. We'll just go ahead and read off your top 32 right here, just to catch everybody up from the top of the bracket to the bottom of the bracket. If you want to follow along with us at home, smash.gg/BCX. There are going to be Twitch tags on there showing you which stream some matches will be taking place on. Some of them will be here on the main stage. Some of them will be on twitch.tv/Bifuteki. If you're confused on the spelling for that, that's on the bracket. Also, some of them will be on Data FGC. That'll be on the bracket as well. From top to bottom, we have Noel versus Lil Cap, Starlight versus Wrenched, Eram versus Viper, Addy versus Blood Diamond, Tiger versus Isidru, iThrow versus Cake, Doe Brain versus Double Dime, Inframini versus Hyper Hero, Maltimum versus Effie, Stevenator versus TB, LDZ versus Pugsy, Remy versus Dr. Faison, Kyler Alice versus Ariel, Tyku versus STTP Wilson, Bumi versus Kosalix, and Fiend versus Corsation.
Yeah, there are a lot of killers in there, and there's some names that I think a lot of people coming into this were listening for, but they don't hear them. Names like Doppy and Egg Soup, who did not make it out of that death pool that they had. But then we also see some names that maybe were a little bit unexpected. You know, Little Capped, Hyper Hero were completely going off yesterday, just absolutely storming through their pools. And then we saw names like Koslix, who a lot of people have thrown a lot of shade at, but he has risen past it. He's become the light that he needs to be to get through the shade and become a top 32 contender here at BCX.
And you have players like Pugsy, who kind of have been absent from the scene the entire year. They've been playing the game, and recently they've been grinding. I mean, I highly doubt that Pugsy hasn't been grinding to make it this far, to do as well as he has been doing in twos, in singles. Like, the fact that Pugsy made it this far, every time I saw Pugsy's name moving on in the bracket, I was like, holy crap. Good for Pugsy.
Good stuff, Pugsy.
That's sick. But yeah, like you said, there are a lot of big names that we haven't seen. Like, this top 32 was really tough to get into. The fact that Doppy yesterday had the third place spot, but then it didn't matter because it was based on Egg Soup versus Effie, because who won that set would tie Doppy in number of sets won, and because Effie went 2-1 against Doppy, if he went 2-0 against, 0-2 against Doppy instead of going 1-2, there would have been a tiebreaker against Doppy, which I don't know if I could have emotionally handled that. Like, I was having trouble keeping it together when Egg Soup lost. Like, that was a pretty critical
intense
moment.
And definitely a lot of emotions have come and gone throughout this weekend. I know many hearts have been broken, but there's still a lot of hope for a lot of regions. I know Fiend is still in there for the Brazilians. There are plenty of EU players who have been looking incredibly strong this weekend. Ariel in particular, going through yesterday's waterfall, was looking like a monster. And then we've got a lot of NA players. But to kick it off, It looks like we are going to be starting with the one and only Fiend from Brazil versus QS.
I don't want to see this many non-NA players playing one another this early. Like, we also have...
I thought you were just going to say, I don't want to see this many non-NA players.
No,
we need an NA
No,
bracket.
not at all. Like, we have Multimum versus Effie in round 1 as well. We have Kyler Alice versus Ariel. Like, I don't want to see this many non-North American players knocked into the losers bracket this early. I'm sorry, NA, I still believe you can win, but I want to see this bracket full of non-North American players for a long time till the end.
Yeah, I definitely want to see as much representation as possible, and then unfortunately, we're in the double elimination part of the bracket, so we're no longer doing those round robins. So each set is going to be so incredibly critical, but we are going to be starting off these sets with the double Hattori mirror match. We've got the Kitsune Hattori, and then that's not the Demon Bride. What is that? What's that one that Fiend's born in?
I don't know. Oni no Hattori.
Yeah, Oni. Yeah. Okay. QS, he's going to be continuing what he was doing yesterday, which is a very zoning play style. Really controlling the space, hits that neutral signature. Fiend is not going to have the movement. QS just guaranteeing it with that ground pound. Didn't quite need to do it, but just in case, he went for the option. But Fiend very much on the back foot right now. He is able to pick up that weapon, but he's got to be careful. If QS can disarm him, you're going to see him completely starve the board. Now,
Fiend's kind of been one of the top 3 big boys in Brazil for quite some time, pretty much all this entire season. It's no surprise. It was either going to be him, Broly, or Emperor that were going to come out of the Brazil regional qualifier on top. But for QS, he's an insanely good player, and so many of the top EU players have a lot of respect for QS, but he hasn't quite been a household name yet until kind of towards the end of the season, because you have your Doe Brains and Tykus, your big personalities in EU, you have your Multimums, you have your E-Rams, and QS just kind of hasn't been on a lot of people's minds. But look at what is going on right off the bat. Like, he came from EU, so I'm sure jet lag set in, and he's already coming out on day 3. Game 1. Like, this room hasn't been open for that long, and he's already coming out looking at a 3 stock at this point. That Nair not quite going to kill on Fiend yet.
And QS showing that power of that practice, that EU dream. QS is looking for that 3 stock, but Fiend is able to avoid that ground pound. He is going to take the stock off, but QS, this is basically his game to lose right now.
And that would be a big way to start, like, feeling good, getting this set, coming 2-0 into this. Keep in mind, everything is 2-0 until top 8. Then it will be all best of 5. So right now, getting those quick victories in, that's huge at this point, because every set is so pivotal. It's a little bit different when you shift to best of 5, because there is a lot of adaptation, playing a little bit slower in the beginning, feeling out your opponent, seeing how they're going to move like that. That's such an important part, where it's best of 3. You just need to get your W's fast.
And there are a lot of players who rely on those extra games to really get a feel of how their opponent plays. And in particular, the Scythe players out there, the Tybos, the Effies, the Atrophiuses out there, really want those extra games so that they can get a feel for their opponent. And then on the flip side, if you're playing something like a Hattori, you want to just rush them down. You want to get them taken out so fast. So you're going to see those Hattoris try to rise to the top in this best of 5. That's cute that QS is running the Brazil flag, just repping for him.
That's nice. And see, that just goes to show this adorable little community that is in front of us today.
They're not quite hugging yet.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I'm sure they will. There'll at least be a friendly handshake at the end. Keep in mind, the prize pool, the overall prize pool for BCX this year is $100,000. So this isn't grand finals by any means, but there's still a lot on the line at this point. This is a double elimination tournament. So if you lose 2 sets, you're gone.
QS doing a really good job off the start. He is able to keep this damage build going on top of Fiend, yet to really pick up a weapon, but he doesn't seem to really care about it. Lots of downlight attempts, starting to whiff those, and he's going to go on over to the sword.
Fiend really struggling to put out some damage. You saw all those downlights earlier, just completely whiffed. QS was staying on the ground. I think Fiend expected him to be in the air, maybe initiate with a dare to move him away so that he's able to pick up the weapon, but QS just completely staying grounded. He has full stage control, full weapon control right now. Fiend finally picking up that sword. We're seeing sword versus sword. Both players jumping very, very quickly. You're seeing a lot of fast falls coming out, a lot of dash forwards, dash jumps. That raw side signature coming out from QS, looking to pick up that kill early off the side.
He knows how close Fiend is to kill, and he is right on that corner. It's been that side signature, trying to get that turnaround, similar to a Taros neutral signature, where it'll pick him up from one side and fling him all the way to the other.
Downlight side air coming out from Fiend. He's getting these damage differences closer and closer. The side signature is just barely going to have enough gas on it to kill Fiend off of the right. QS with just a little bit of lead, but Fiend shrunk the one he had earlier. It was like red to the later stages of yellow, and now that's been shrank quite a bit.
Yeah, very real possibility that Fiend could even this up, but he needs to find that hit. He threw out one signature, but it's going to be the unarmed recovery that sends QS flying. Not quite enough to finish off the stock. Fiend still looking for the attempt. He goes for a lot of those gravity cancels out of hit stun. It's going to be the gravity cancel neutral sig that he goes for, and more side sigs. He's getting a little bit desperate with these signature throws, just throwing them out, hoping that they'll land on top of QS, but it's the downlight side air. Still not enough. QS going to be holding on. That'll do it.
I can't believe that the downlight side air didn't actually kill QS there. Fiend finally finding that unarmed recovery off of the top, but that is that high blast zone of Shipwreck. That's why the last unarmed recovery hit didn't kill.
Oh, and QS already finding the reply in stocks. He's got a full stock lead over Fiend. Fiend is definitely in trouble. He's going to have to find more damage more consistently and be able to finish off those stocks. That's one thing that he did struggle with at the beginning of this game.
Fiend is able to get to the weapon. We are seeing sword v sword. Again, he's had a little bit more luck with the sword so far. His downlight resets have been pretty solid. He's still been struggling to find that real big damage. Like every time he gets one string, QS seems to answer back with 2 or 3 unanswered.
Yeah, Fiend, he's going for these consistent types, those openers like the double pogo, those down airs on top of his opponent. But QS just doing a really good job of recognizing these combo starters and just falling out of them, avoiding the follow-ups from Fiend. And there you see again, Fiend going for that downlight gravity cancel neutral heavy, and QS just fades away to the side to avoid it.
Fiend has QS and kill percent right now. The D-light into the side air. Sadly, it's an unarmed version and not a spear version, not a sword version. He does pick up the recovery there to kill QS off the top, but it seems like ever since the beginning, Fiend has kind of been playing catch-up. The lead is still very narrow right here. He could hit 2 solid strings. He could hit the side light, D-light side air. He could just put out 4 or 5 neutral lights. You could see huge pogo string coming out, and that could even up the damage, but it's been QS in the lead kind of this entire time.
Fiend relying a lot on that weapon toss to try to open up QS. He's really struggled, especially against the spear. The zone control from the spear, the neutral lights, the side airs from that spear kit make it very difficult to get in on top of him. But Fiend doing a really good job. A lot of these unarmed jump nairs to catch off QS.
Damage is even. Fiend has taken the lead for the first time in this set. We see the jumping side air and missing the neutral signature coming out from QS from the left to the right. QS is going to take it 2-0. I think he's a little bit confused looking.
I think they're double checking if it's best of 5 or best of 3. Not sure if they have one more game to play, but it is in fact a best of 3. Really good stuff from QS taking down Fiend, but Fiend is going to go down to the lower bracket. Not quite out of the tournament just yet, but slowly the Brazilian dream is dying.
It's funny because you can see in the background, there's not a lot of people sitting in the audience right now because everybody is around those computers in the back. It is still reasonably early in the morning here. We're going to see definitely more people fill in as the day goes on, as the bracket whittles down. But all of the players, at least right now, they are 100% focused on all of those stations in the back. And I'm sure the second that people are finished playing their games up here, they're going to be heading back there. Every single moment that they have to break, they're going to be grinding back there. They got to eat. They got to go to the restroom. But aside from that, they're going to be on those stations. They're going to be grinding, getting that muscle memory built in, scrimming against their fellow competitors, kind of looking to probably taking notes, looking at the characters that the people around them are playing. So today is the best day to be a top Brawlhalla player, and today is the worst day to be a top Brawlhalla player.
It is.
This is the stress. This is the high pressure situation of BCX.
This is definitely going to be the most stressful moment for a lot of these players as far as Brawlhalla goes. This is where it gets so incredibly tense. And like you were saying, there's a lot of players back there who are really warming up. They're making sure that they've got their controls set. They're making sure they know their tech. They have it all down to muscle memory. But then on the other side, we had players like Tyku, who he had an earbud in. He was just in that concentration mode. He was just doing that death stare that he did earlier, and he is just in full on concentration. Maybe even playing out sets in his head. I know he said he was going to watch replays back in the hotel room last night?
My guess is he probably just crashed because I know he was super tired. Yeah. Everybody was super exhausted after yesterday. All the people that had to play through 1v1 waterfall brackets all day, like they were all exhausted. Everybody was focused on getting a lot of sleep last night. Like Tyku didn't stay out with us very long. He was pretty much like, yeah, I'm gonna have fun right after everything closes off. But aside from that, I'm gonna go straight home, go straight to bed, get that good rest so I can get up early, get a good breakfast and everything like that.
It is, in fact, a very important day. But as we continue on with these top 32s, we are going to be seeing some more of these regional qualifier representation with Kyler Alice going to be going up against Ariel. Kyler Alice hailing all the way from Australia, longtime champion of the Australian scene. There were some moments where some people thought that maybe he might get knocked off, but he has proven those haters wrong.
Now, a quick update on the bracket real quick. LDZ and Pugsy ended up playing off-stream in, it looks like a Diana mirror match based on the characters that they reported here. LDZ came out with a 2-0, but back to what you were saying, yeah, Kyler Alice and Tiger, they've been the big boys in their scene for the longest time. There's no other scene that can say that. Like, no other scene has one definitive person. Like, obviously last year, Kreutzberg won the Brazilian regional qualifier, but at the time, it could have gone to anybody. Like, it did come down to the wire at the end. But with Tiger and Kyler Alice, and I guess Kyler Alice, because we're specifically seeing him right here, everybody knew last year Kyler was going to win. This year, everybody pretty much knew Kyler was going to win as well. So there's part of that makes you feel confident in your play, but also, like with LDZ and the US West regional qualifier, everybody knew he was going to win last year, but that put a lot of pressure on him because he thought, what if I don't?
What if I mess up?
Like, what if there's the possibility that I don't and I embarrass myself or I let everybody down and I don't move on?
Especially in these best-of-3 situations, these best-of-3 sets, it is incredibly difficult. One mistake could be the death of your game. It could be the thing that propels you down into the lower bracket, and just every single mistake just compounds upon itself. I know some of these players do get inside of their heads and they see that mistake and then they just focus on the mistake that they made rather than finishing out the game, finishing out what's
you heard
happening.
Egg Soup talking yesterday, and Egg Soup not usually one to John like the likes of Tyku or a lot of other players out there. You heard him talk about a specific edge guard that he had for free. He dropped the edge guard and then he SD'd, and that was part of the beginning of the events that led to him not making top 32. If he would have gotten that, I think he would have won the set, which would have given him enough sets to move on to where it wouldn't have come down to that game with Effie. So yeah, at this point, everything is so pivotal going forward. No mistakes.
Button checks coming out from Kyler Alice and Ariel. Likely will be the character picks. Kyler Alice kind of has an interesting character pool. Because he's from Australia, he's not really stuck to the character pools that we usually see from NA as well as EU, where EU side we'll see a little bit more Qatar focus, NA side a little bit more sword focus. But Kyler Alice, going into last year, he was saying that his Jala was undefeated in ranked. Yeah. And likely that same story will hold true going into today. Likely that Jala is basically undefeated in Australian ranks.
Is this button check? Because they've been going for 40 seconds, and it seems like they're actually fighting one another. It started looking
like a really awkward start.
Like Ariel was starting with those side airs going the wrong way on Hammer.
Maybe not so much button check, or it's just going to be the most played out button check of all time. But I think they're actually going into this. Ariel going to be looking for that kill option. Backs up, going to be going into the hammer, and that has consistency with that stomp side air. Good on Ariel to be hitting that. Yep. As you said yesterday, they did tighten the framing on that, so it can be a little bit difficult for those hammer players who are really used to the old timing.
I've seen like 2 hammer players so far this weekend that are even attempting to go for that as their kill option. It's usually just the stomp side light for the damage option. Of course, not a kill option. Sometimes they'll go for the stomp, and then they'll try to read which direction there's going to be a dodge for the nair pickup towards the end.
And then, to a degree, I think a lot of hammer players have kind of just relied on fast fall Sair, the same way that Axe players, because Axe doesn't have that combo starter, they've just been going for the fast fall Sair, so the hammer players have really picked that up into their play as well, rather than trying to get that reliable start with a stomp.
And that just shows the adaptation that the hammer players have had to do. There are a lot of kill options with Hammer's kit, and it's so great that hammer players are absorbing all of those. They're learning all of those. There's a stomp side air that he ended up missing that would have led to the kill on Kyler Alice. That could have been the chance to get a huge lead. We're seeing Kyler going unarmed against Ariel's Qatars. He's able to put some damage out. He's brought Ariel into the orange at this point. Ariel's going to hit that down air. Obviously, that's not a kill option at this point. It didn't lead to anything. Oh my
nice
gosh!
string from Kyler Alice. The side light into the nair, into the Sayer. Very difficult to hit, but Ariel with the comeback. He just hits a nair on top of Kyler Alice and ends up getting the stock. But Kyler Alice off that 3 hit is going to put Ariel close to that kill percent.
Yeah, Ariel still has the lead at this point, but missing that stomp side air, that he took valuable damage that he could have completely avoided if he ended up hitting that stomp side air.
Kyler Alice really looking for this finisher, wants to hit that side air. You're seeing him try to hit that downlight for that combo efficiency, but if he can't hit it, you're still seeing him do those quick jump side airs, trying to just get this stock off of Ariel. No signatures coming out from Kyler Alice just yet. Lots of up tosses from Ariel, though.
Solid flow right there in Ariel's play. Like you're seeing him do the downlight on the right, then he would chase dodge, turn around, do the downlight to the left. I see some Hammer players doing that as kind of an initial, I don't want to call it a black hole, but for all intents and purposes, a black hole option for the singles player.
It's a little bit of a cheeky read, just kind of throw them off. Normally off the stomp, you go for that immediate follow-up, right? You go for that dare, side light, the Sayer, but instead you go for that dash over and that chase dodge to the other side and just keep that pressure going in ways that your opponent's not expecting. They don't know what to do or what to dodge after that stomp anymore.
Valuable stomp side air not being hit by Ariel yet again. That would have been a kill there going for him. That would have given him game 1. He's just now procced in a red with that side air from Kyler.
Kyler Alice needs a couple more swings to be looking for that kill option onto Ariel. But again, Kyler Alice, that's the first signature he's thrown out. Ariel not quite going to fall to that even if it gets hit. Kyler!
He's not going to have anything. He did the dodge, then he hit that recovery. Sorry, he didn't hit it. He threw out that recovery going the opposite direction. If he would have had another dodge there, he probably would have been able to diagonally dodge back to the wall. He's going to end up falling. Again, that stomp side air, that Ariel drop, it's going to be a problem, but it's not going to be something that he can't overcome.
Right, it wasn't critical, but each of those little mistakes are going to start to add up, and that's what we saw as Ariel, he dropped that one stomp side air, and Kyler Alice really tried to push that advantage, tried to capitalize off of that mistake, ended up bringing it reasonably close to those final stocks, but Ariel able to secure it at the very end. Kyler Alice likely will be making some minor adjustments to his playstyle, but he's not changing characters at all.
Now, as we are in the stage banning situation, another update on the bracket. We have Bumi versus Koslik. Bumi takes it 2-0. We have Dr. Faison versus Remy. Dr. Faison wins 2-1. Remy was a huge favorite coming into this, but we saw on the brackets yesterday, Dr. Faison was a monster. I didn't get to see any of his games, really, so I'm kind of bummed about that, but it was just green all over the board for Dr. Faison. He's been coming out huge this weekend. TB is going to 2-0 Stevenator. A little bit of a heartbreak for Steve, as this is, according to him, at least at this point, one of his final tournaments that he'll be coming to for a while. Doe Brain 2-0 Double Dime. Mini 2-0 Hyper Hero. Hyper Hero also a player that's been going monstrous off completely this entire weekend. Isidru is going to 2-0 Tiger. Viper is going to 2-0 Eran. Wrenched is going to 2-0 Starlight. And Noel is going to 2-1 Lil Caps.
A couple of upsets already starting off this top 32. But the only upset that we're concerned about right now is Kyler Alice versus Ariel. Ariel able to get that guitar string on top of him. Nice little mix-ups inside of it, not going straight for that down air, down light, dare loop.
Yeah, I like that he didn't try and force that because he knew it wasn't going to last forever. There was eventually going to be a dodge coming back up or a jump that he was going to be able to get up. So I love that he didn't completely try to force that. He got the little bit of it and then continued to string the other way. There he hits that weapon toss again. Ariel just seems to be controlling the pace of these matches.
Very much in the driver's seat of this. Kyler Alice going to try to find a response stock. He's got that sword in hand. Ariel close to that kill percent, so Kyler Alice just needs to find that kill option. Oh, throws a little bit down towards the bottom of the map, but Ariel able to avoid it by being up top.
The side light, Kyler still not able to find the kill option. He followed up with the side air, but he wasn't able to connect with the stomp coming out from Ariel. Ariel staying very grounded right there. The neutral light, and that was something that became a kill option on Axe last year at BCX. We were seeing a lot of Axe players relying on that from the middle of the stage, left and right side of the stage as the Axe kill option. And we're seeing that continue as well. Ariel with the weapon toss to finish the string. The down air, Kyler didn't touch. The grab pound following it up before the active frames were able to come out for that Axe recovery. Ariel with a full stock over Kyler Alice.
No touch from Kyler Alice. Ariel just completely controlling this full full stock advantage over Ariel, and he's continuing this pressure. He is just going into full-on aggro mode as he is just swinging towards Kyler Alice. This is not like how we were seeing from QS, where it was a little bit more slow, a little bit more space control. Instead, Ariel is just going in.
Ariel has serious room to play with at this point. Obviously, he has the damage lead right now. He has the stock lead right now, but also he has a lot of defense as a Sentinel player that he can take some hits.
Yeah, you can afford to take these unarmed attacks from Kyler Alice. Kyler Alice really needs to find some more momentum, but Ariel's doing a fantastic job of just completely denying the weapons. You see him recovering from this main stage just so he can be in position, try to deny Kyler Alice that pickup, but Kyler Alice does get the sword, gets the side air, and will be evening up the stocks, but he has to play the stock perfectly.
That is a lot of damage on Kyler Alice's stock right now. This is Kyler playing on his winner's bracket stock at this point. I think one more sidelight will probably kill him, even if it's unarmed at this point. A hammer sidelight won't, but an unarmed sidelight will. You see Ariel initiating from the air a little bit. Those air attacks do tend to have a little bit higher force on them. I don't think a Qatar side air will kill at this point. The floating hammer toss.
That was a good throw.
Ariel's on his last stock there, so he's playing a little bit safe. He has the weapon disadvantage. He's going to go for the safe unarmed recovery. He's going to take Kyler Alice off the top, going 2-0 against Kyler Alice. Kyler will be going down to the losers bracket. We've now seen Tiger and Kyler go down to the losers bracket. What?
Fiend was the first person we watched.
Well, yeah, I mean, but in the bracket.
Oh, okay. Tiger. You're looking at the bracket. I thought we have watched Fiend.
We personally haven't seen with our eyes on this main stage, but I'm talking about Tiger and Kyler in general. The SCA and Australia boys always linked, even though they're from different regions. They're always going to be kind of lumped together because they have played against one another on the ranked leaderboard. Also, don't say Fiend like that at me.
Because I thought you were just completely saying Tiger as it was, or Fiend was Tiger.
Man, I'm looking at the bracket. That's why I give the bracket overview so people know what's going on.
All right. Well, we are seeing a lot of the regional qualifiers getting knocked out. The U.S. East regional qualifier as well has been knocked down into the lower bracket. The only ones still remaining inside of the tournament, West and EU, as far as upper side goes.
Yes, and both of them won with 2 O's against their respective opponents.
Really good stuff from those regional qualifiers. Speaking of which, coming up next, we've got Doe Brain versus M4 Mini. They're just getting set up. And this is a little bit of an EU heartbreak, as one of them has to go down into the lower bracket. And we are going to see one of them continue on. If the EU regional qualifier is any indicator, M4 Mini will be able to close it out. Might be seeing that Ogrim rematch.
I don't think we will.
I think Mini's been playing. I don't think. Barasa.
Yeah, Mini's not really gonna touch on that anymore. I think where we would have really seen it from him. Let's talk about Mini's placements this entire season, because they're a little bit more interesting than pretty much any other player. Mini was just not. He basically wasn't a person in competitive Brawlhalla until Spring Champs, and he came out first, and everyone was like, Who is this M4 guy? I know EU players knew him because they probably ran into him on the ranked leaderboard, but just all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Then right after that won the BCS SummerSlam first. Brawl League Masters, he got second, and then the EU Regional Qualifier, which is one of the reasons he was able to get here. He took first in that. So he has a first placement, a first placement, a first placement, and a second placement.
That's a pretty good record.
Like that's intense. It's not a long career, but it's a very bright career.
But it's also like he's playing the important tournaments, right? Like that's been his mentality through the season. He didn't go to every single tournament, but he went to the ones that had the most circuit points on the line, the ones that really were the big pot bonuses, and those are the ones that he won and where he got so many of his circuit points. That's the one where he got his EU regional qualifier. Yep. But going over to the twos team, him and Goosey, that's one of the reasons why they did so well, is they won one 2v2 that mattered the most.
And that's going to be that Spring Champs win coming out huge for him. For Mini, he was pretty much set for the entire season based on winning that. You had the lands that were worth a lot of circuit points, and then you had the seasonal championships, winter, spring, and summer, that are worth a whole lot of points. And by winning pretty much that alone, that put him in that qualification spot to where he didn't have to play through the singles waterfall bracket. Still had to play for the twos waterfall bracket.
Yes.
But he didn't have to play through the singles. So that gave him a lot of time to focus on everything else around him.
On the other side, Doe Brain, likely a household name as far as Brawlhallans go. Very well-known player. Lots of good information comes out.
He did qualify, by the way. I don't know. I thought Minnie and Goosey didn't qualify by circuit points.
I tried to agree with you. I didn't want to.
I appreciate that you didn't bury me on this one and
because
yell Fiend into
I did technically say
face.
that they earned the circuit points, but then you were like they had to. So I was just going to let you do you.
That's why I got the notes in
Fiend.
front of me. I forget.
Either way, Doe Brain,
brain.
other side, definitely an informative tool out there for those of you who are getting into the Brawlhalla scene. Lots of good information on Doe Brain's YouTube. Always informative stuff on his Twitch streams, and he's been an all-around impressive player going all the way back to last year. A lot of eyes were on Doe Brain to be the big contender against LDZ. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it to last year's BCX, but this year he's here, and he is looking incredibly strong.
Yeah, this is going to be the first BCX that he's gone to. This is going to be the highest pressure situation, I think, that he's been under. Because I want to go back to like last year when he needed the EU regional qualifier win to get to BCX possibly. That was a really high pressure situation for him, and he's kind of dealt with nerves in the past. Like there was a Smash, I think it was a Smash coach on Twitter that he tweeted at asking questions saying, "Hey, how do you fix your mentality and keep focused on the game when there are things happening around you that you cannot control?" Because that has happened to him in the past, and he's spiraled downward after that. So I don't remember what the answer was. I think it was just the standard. You just got to keep playing, stay focused on in the moment, do everything right that you can, everything that you can control. Focus on that. Everything that you can't control, there's nothing you can do, so you have to just let that happen.
Well, we'll see if Doe Brain can keep control and bring that control into this game, as M for Mini is going to be on a Ragnar. Interesting pick. Going to be retaining that axe that he has been playing relatively consistently. He had the Ulgrim pick. We saw him on the Barasa yesterday, or not yesterday, Friday in the twos, but he is going to be bringing the Ragnar out. Doe Brain is hovering on all sorts of characters. And then looking at M for Mini, maybe just trying to feel him out, see what M for Mini makes a uncomfortable face to.
It'll be interesting if he plays Ulgrim here, because it was most of this season that we saw M for Mini, he was playing Ulgrim. He was known as pretty much the only person, really, who's playing Ulgrim at that point consistently. He's playing Ulgrim and playing Ulgrim well, and then all of a sudden, at the EU Regional Qualifier, he was just like, nope, not playing Ulgrim anymore, and Doe Brain was like, yeah, I'm only playing Ulgrim now. So they had that complete flip-flop. Then Mini went over to this Ragnar pick. I'm excited to see what we have here, because we're going to have some tech chase-heavy weapons. Obviously, Mordex is going to have the Scythe, very heavy on tech chases, and the Gauntlets, very heavy on tech chases. Then Mini's going to have the Katars on his Ragnar, very heavy on tech chases, and Axe can be at times. Like obviously we've seen the sidelight, downlight, side air coming out from more than a few players here.
Yeah, we saw yesterday Tiffany was doing a lot of good stuff with his Mordex, doing some very hard reads, getting some incredible gravity cancels off stage. Not sure if M for Mini is going to be going for a lot of those aggressive gravity cancels as well, but it looks like just feeling moments right now. Just trying to see how the other one is going to react to their attacks. Doe Brain with a nice backdash ends up picking up a decent little string on M for Mini.
Now, in terms of tournament placings, Doe Brain's kind of struggled this year. He's been inconsistent. Most of his placings have been good, but they haven't been very consistent. We've seen things like 33rd, and then we've seen second from him. He hasn't won any tournaments this year, except all the way back in, I think, it was either February or March when Brawl League Open Cup happened. And we just see some huge damage coming out from Mini there. He picked up a recovery. It wasn't enough to kill Doe Brain. He's able to get back safely. But it was the Brawl League Open Cup in singles. That is the only tournament this year that Doe Brain has won.
That is a little unfortunate for Doe Brain, but it looks like this is the tournament that he wants to win the most. I mean, this if you're going to win a tournament, this is the one that you should probably
pick this one. This one, yeah, definitely this one.
Maybe. Right side, M for Mini is unarmed. Doe Brain doing a lot of dash dancing, really trying to bait M for Mini into an attack, trying to bait him into that downlight, but M for Mini finds the hit, not going to take the bait, and instead he's just going to kill the fisherman, gets that downlight into the recovery, and going to try to widen this gap with his axe swings.
And that's going to be that spacing back and forth that we saw Doe Brain do even before dash was a thing. Like we saw him do that in their EU regional qualifier. That obviously had dash on it, but we saw him do that with the lance in his hands as well. So that's not specific to having gauntlets in that shorter range. We saw it all the way back in Brawl League Masters last year when he had gauntlets and was just completely exploiting D-Light's sidelight into the recovery.
Side strings coming out from Doe Brain, not able to maintain it, but M for Mini not able to find any sort of reply in damage. There is the sideline downlight, which we saw him hit so consistently with his Ulgrim, but with the recent changes to that sidelight, M for Mini not able to maintain that sidelight downlight pressure.
It looks like M for Mini's grounded approach choice is going to be that sidelight. He's going to go for that dash and sidelight to punish Doe Brain when he's in recovery frames. It looks like he's trying to switch it up just a little bit. He's throwing out that neutral light as well. That's going to give him big damage, about 19 damage every single time he hits. If he hits both swipes, that I believe the first one's 7, the second one's 12.
I'm really liking this weight that M for Mini is doing off that sidelight. He doesn't have the true combo follow-up with that downlight, and it's kind of a hard read if you're going to go for that recovery. So instead, he just waits, tries to see how Doe Brain's going to dodge out of it, but Doe Brain, not even concerned about it, ends up just running in with that down sig on the gauntlets to take M for Mini's second stock.
Now Mini is unarmed. Doe Brain's going to stand around that. He is going to guard that weapon. M for Mini's able to slink in there, grab it right out from underneath Doe Brain.
Sidelight, not quite going to be a kill potential move, but he is trying to utilize that down signature, trying to get that blast, that like forward horizontal hitbox off the blast.
Mini was being so patient with those guitars. He knows that if he overcommits, he's going to take serious damage from Doe Brain. And it's coming out right now. He ended up picking up that dare, the second dare going the wrong way. Mini is struggling to find that kill option. You see him throwing out those kill moves. The side signature just barely missing his Doe Brain, moves a little bit to the right.
And for Mini really needing this kill move. And he knows it. He's starting to throw them out a little bit too aggressively, and Doe Brain capitalizing, really widening this gap as M for Mini struggles to finish this stock off.
Doe Brain staying very grounded. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw side signature coming out from M for Mini. There's the neutral signature on stage. I'm not sure if he meant to do that or if that was a misinput.
I think it was a read. Just expecting Doe Brain to jump on the approach. But unfortunately for M for Mini, Doe Brain staying very grounded, throwing out another down signature. M for Mini basically close to kill percent. The sidelight comes out.
Just chasing after him, and Doe Brain baited him over there too. Oh my gosh, the downlight into the recovery. Is it going to be too little too late for Mini? He has his choice of weapon at this point. He's going to go for the axe. He might want the consistency of sidelight into the downlight at least early on in Doe Brain's stock before he gets past that threshold where he really can't use that anymore. Sidelight into the dare misses the neutral light, the sidelight, the nair missing. Sidelight into the downlight, only a little bit longer will that work. He picks up the dare, he picks up the neutral light, big damage coming out of Mini.
Not going to quite put Doe Brain into that kill percent, but M for Mini is hitting these consistent hits, able to avoid that weapon toss. Would have been critical had it hit, but M for Mini, he's trying to, dashes back into the side sig, and that's going to be Doe Brain taking game one. But M for Mini, we saw the chunks coming out with that axe.
He definitely had signs of life towards the end of that stock. He was putting that damage out consistently, taking very little damage. You saw him nod his head right at the end of it when it switched to the player cam. You saw him nod his head, understanding that, Doe Brain outplayed me, that I almost came back. I'm not going to get tilted. I'm in the moment. I understand that I have it in me to bring it back. I just need to maybe get out in front of Doe Brain a little bit earlier on and hold that consistency.
Look how much they are thinking right now. Doe Brain completely in his mind right now, evaluating every single option. M for Mini is also very much concentrating. They know how important each of these games are, as it is a best of three. Sure, Doe Brain's up 1, but this can easily go M for Mini's way, the way he's playing that axe.
As goofy as Doe Brain can be at times, stoic is always the word that comes to my mind to describe him. Like, you can see it on his face, just absolutely cold stare coming out from Doe Brain right now. 100% focused, 100% in the moment. At this point in the bracket, you can't look into the future. You have to deal with what's right in front of you, and it's M for Mini right now, someone that he has played with ever since I think Mini came out and won Spring Champs. Like, these two have been playing together so much. Mini's been in Doe Brain's Discord. There's been talks between those two. Just conversations, talking about the game, learning about the game together, learning new things. So these are two players that know one another very well.
We'll see how well that knowledge comes into play. M for Mini with the weapon control on top of Doe Brain, really trying to just keep him over to the right side as the weapon that has spawned is all the way on the left. Trying to deny this pickup, but he goes for that read with the neutral stick, expecting Doe Brain to utilize that soft platform. Doe Brain instead went down onto the ground, hit that neutral light, picks up the scythe, but Mini with a significant damage lead can't over-aggress onto that scythe off stage.
Mini being very careful. You're seeing him being careful with his spacing, using those dashes to get in. Throws out that axe neutral light. A side air at this point probably will kill Doe Brain. Doe Brain using that neutral air to send Mini the other direction, utilizing that active input.
Mini needs to find this kill move. Doe Brain just closing that gap the longer it takes for Mini to finish this stock off. It's predominantly been the side sigs for Ragnarsson. There's that side sig coming out. And especially with the way that Doe Brain's been playing grounded, likely won't be any neutral sig attempts from M for Mini.
Mini just barely missing that side air that surely would have led to Doe Brain's death.
Oh.
The recovery, no weapon toss there. It was absolutely unnecessary. He was going to hold onto his weapon just in case he needed it to confirm the edge guard if Mini somehow was able to get back. Mini without a weapon coming up against Doe Brain's gauntlets. He's going to throw it away. Last time we saw Doe Brain use that weapon as a trap, Mini came in and got it immediately safely. So Doe Brain's going to just completely keep him weapon starved.
Not going to leave any option on the board. Instead, Mini
He's so all those weapon
by.
spawns, dude. Those are so good for Doe Brain and so terrible for Mini. They've been right on Doe Brain like every time. Mini, though, with his patience,
good composure,
the calculation, and he is rewarded for that downlight into the recovery with the weapon spawns going right on top of him. He's able to grab him without any issue.
Likely won't be going for that weapon start play style. There you see Doe Brain gets that spawn, but M for Mini instead, he's just going to try to start chunking. There's the axe, gets that neutral light. Surprised to not see that sidelight when Doe Brain kind of came over that corner, but instead, M for Mini really trying to use these neutral lights on the axe. There's the play. He hits the sidelight, Doe Brain dodges down, and M for Mini just very patient, goes in with that neutral light.
Another neutral light coming out for Mini. He's using those a lot on the ground now, and I absolutely 100% agree with that. Doe Brain is at that orange, so the threshold for side light into the down light is completely gone past. Doe Brain's going to pick up his ground pound, so that axe neutral light, that is going to be pretty much his best source of damage. Obviously, if you hit the grounded ground pound, that'll do one more point of damage. But using that neutral light, he's staying grounded. He's not using any in-air movement options. The big strings coming out from Doe Brain, the neutral air into the side air, and the weapon toss doing just a little bit more damage.
Yeah, no recovery to finish off that string, but he's still got a significant amount of damage off the neutral air and side air string. Doe Brain still going in on M for Mini, looking for that double side light. Can't quite get that side light to follow up, but M for Mini is in trouble.
Now, we've seen the possible comeback potential from Mini last game, but I don't think he was at this point in his stock. He wasn't red when Doe Brain was at that point. And
it's hug time.
My gosh, that's a hug. That's a tough win. That's a tough win right there.
It's bittersweet. You can see it on Doe Brain's face that he's a little upset about having to take down M for Mini, but he knows that a lot of money is on the line. $100,000 pot across 2v2 and 1v1.
And just based on the size of the Brawlhalla community, pretty much everyone in top 32 at this point, everybody's boys. Yeah. Everybody in like playoffs yesterday, pretty much boys. Like Effie and Egg Soup yesterday, like Effie's friends with Egg Soup's friends with Effie, so like, yeah, Effie won, but nobody really won that situation. Yeah. The spectators are sad because like it's great seeing Effie go forward, but Egg Soup didn't get to go forward. I tweeted out yesterday, I wish everybody could make top 32 because everybody has worked so hard this entire year, but sadly, that's not how things work. Only 32 can make the top 32. That's not how tournaments
work, unfortunately.
Mini will be going down into the losers bracket. Let's do a little bit of a bracket update so far. Wrenched 2-0'd Noel.
Woo! That is not something that I would have expected at all coming into this. Noel, one of the most consistent players in NA. We've said it time and time again. Noel looking incredibly strong. One of the favorites from the east side. And Wrenched, he had taken a break. He really hadn't been showing his face. And 2-0ing Noel, that is a statement.
We also, we didn't personally see, but the bracket has shown us that Bumi 2-1'd QS. Starlight 2-1'd Lil Cap in the losers bracket. Keep in mind everything else I say after this point is going to be in losers bracket. So Lil Cap sadly is out of the tournament. There is still some adaptation dream in looking at Blood Diamond right now. He just 2-0'd ERAM. He 2-0'd the Brawl League Master, the Summer Champion, and the Jeopardy winner ERAM, sending him packing, not quite yet. There's still some time. Obviously, ERAM and Pugsy are in
top 8.
They're still in it for 2, so that still is an option. Blood Diamond is going to 2-0 ERAM. Hyper Hero 2-0 Double Dime. So Hyper Hero, who's been playing absolutely insane this entire weekend, Double Dime will have to go home to Canada without the gold medal on his neck. Pugsy 2-0'd Remy.
That is insane. Remy knocked
Remy's
out.
out. Like, Remy is out
Going
of the singles
0-2.
tournament.
He's played 2 games, and he went 0-2 after earning the U.S. East Regional Qualifier spot. That is very absurd. That is upsetting.
We know the name Pugsy from last season, but Pugsy hasn't been playing tournaments this season. Pugsy had to go all the way through, well, not all the way, he didn't go into Div 3, but he had to go through the waterfall bracket yesterday. He had to run the gauntlet. This is an upset by all definitions of the term. Remy has been going through the season. In the latter half of the season, he's been playing so well. Again, Brawl League Master Remy, Summer Champion Remy. Huge playing coming out of Remy, placing very well at Shine as well. He didn't win, but he placed very well at Shine. And then all of a sudden, Pugsy is going to slink out of the darkness and knock him out of the tournament. Again, that's another heartbreaking loss because they are friends. And it's like Pugsy's coming in at the end of the tournament. He doesn't want to beat Remy, who's been playing and grinding and getting so much better this entire year. Obviously, he wants to win because he wants to move on, but that's another heartbreaking loss. And then yet another heartbreaking loss. Fiend, our friend from South America, is out of the tournament as well. Kosalix knocking him out. Kosalix will be moving on to fight, and this is weird, Noel, because Noel, we're not used to seeing Noel in the losers bracket this early.
Yeah, that is definitely a lot of upsets. If you want to follow along, smash.gg/BCX. Take a look at that double elimination bracket as well as the 2v2 bracket, which we'll be looking at later today in just a little bit. But before that, we are going to continue on in this top 32 of 1v1s. You can see on the right side of the 2 players, that is LDZ going up against Dr. Faison. And Dr. Faison has been looking so good today and yesterday.
He's been playing really well, surprisingly well. Like,
yeah.
Dr. Faison is a name that we've known for a long time. Same thing with Hyper Hero, but it's the same thing with both of them. They've kind of always been on the periphery of really succeeding as top players in Brawlhalla, but all of a sudden they've just completely exploded at BCX. They've succeeded in the LAN environment, not only just a regular LAN environment, but the World Championships when there is, you can throw a rock at any point in this room and hit a very good player. Well, there's no rocks in here, but
well, don't bring one from outside.
Good players everywhere.
Yes. Like
literally everywhere. I'm sure there are very few matches that Dr. Faison played or that Hyper Hero played that wasn't against a strong player.
Yeah, at this point, it is nigh impossible to say that you had a free run to get to the top 32.
There is nobody had an easy route. There's no easy route through top 32 at this point. Both are accepted, and I know that you know that. Nobody had an easy route through top 32. No one had an easy route through playoffs either. And even Division 1 had
Division 1 had
some
some killers too. Definitely a tough road to get here, but we are going to continue on that path. It's Dr. Faison versus LDZ. Interesting picks. LDZ has been playing that Lucian, but I almost was expecting Dr. Faison to go in with his own Lucian there. I was half expecting the mirror match.
If I was Faison, he hasn't necessarily been focusing too much on gun characters. Like, he does have a set of blasters, and as we say this, LDZ is about to get a huge opening gimp. He doesn't get the kill, but he does have the damage lead onto Dr. Faison right now. But as I was saying, I wouldn't want to mirror match LDZ on LDZ's character choice right now. I wouldn't want to even really go the same weapons against LDZ. I wouldn't want to share guns between him. I wouldn't want to really share Katars even. So I'm glad that Faison's going in with this Val pick.
But he's got to get in on top of LDZ, able to pick up the gauntlets. But LDZ doing a really good job with his nairs, getting that tech underneath, and it's going to be the neutral sig that takes down Dr. Faison. Dash dancing around a little bit, going to be sticking with the blasters for that damage build. That generally is the play when you have a blasters character. Stick with those blasters as they have just slightly higher DPS.
Now, I haven't really seen, I don't think, any games from LDZ this weekend personally. So it's interesting to see LDZ here at this LAN. Not just because he hasn't gone to any other LAN this year, but it's interesting because is that going to carry over from last year? Like, he hasn't had the LAN experience this year, but he has the high pressure, high intensity situation. So he doesn't have the quantity of LAN experience, but he has the quality from BCX last year, playing in that grand final spot against Multimum. Like, he's had higher pressure at LAN than anybody else in Brawlhalla.
He is the BCX 2016 champion. He is coming in with the basically highest possible award going into this, and he's already looking so incredibly strong. Here today on Sunday, Dr. Faison gonna have to find some sort of response to LDZ, not able to finish off this first stock from LDZ.
Into the middle, that side air, though, weapon toss. Faison's just completely disengaging, going to that left wall. He's not going to be in that shenanigans area. That neutral signature not picking up. Dr. Faison wasn't stacked enough or in the air. Ooh. The recovery is going to give LDZ that chase dodge to get back. Side air's coming out from LDZ. This second stock of Dr. Faison is winding down. Meanwhile, LDZ almost in the black on his first stock.
Dr. Faison playing very dangerously, not wanting to pick up that weapon, doesn't want to overcommit into that. LDZ down on the bottom right side was looking possibly for that recovery, utilizing that wall, but instead it's going to be the down signature coming out. Dr. Faison, that down air still not enough to take down LDZ. LDZ's just been holding on so strong against Dr. Faison in this first stock.
That side air was so close to hitting LDZ that surely would have killed. LDZ was able to get just underneath it to pick up that recovery to get safely back onto the wall. Dr. Faison so deep in the red on his second stock as he takes away LDZ's first. LDZ unarmed, but a side light. It's not even going to need a side light. It's going to be the down light into the recovery. There was a GCD light showing, knowing that reaction time in that moment, knowing that exact placing.
I also want to point out that LDZ's been doing a really good job of when he gets Dr. Faison off stage, he hits the weapon toss. Every single time. It will be a side air to hit Dr. Faison into the wall. Bam, weapon toss right after. The blaster's dare, weapon toss immediately after. Expect those weapon tosses from LDZ. That's going to be the first time he whips that weapon toss, but far from any trouble as he is still a full stock up on Dr. Faison.
And that's kind of similar to what we saw last year from LDZ. It was always his opponents in red, he's going to hit the on-stage like bow side air and then throw the weapon to finish off the stock, bump them into the blast zone. It's interesting, though, here they're a lot closer. They're not quite stacked or anything like that, but they're very close to the chest, and he's able to use them to put the flow into his gameplay rather than just like an exclamation point or a punctuation mark at the end of his play.
Side sig comes out, and LDZ showing why he is the 2016 BCX champion, very much in the driver's seat of Dr. Faison. And Dr. Faison coming into this set, he was the upset king, man. He was tearing through the bracket, and LDZ is just going to put a hard stop to that. That's going to be humbling.
Now, I don't want to say that a lot of people counted LDZ out, but because LDZ hasn't really been a headline in Brawlhalla this year, he's won quite a lot. He's placed very well in online tournaments. He won Winter Champions. He won Brawl League Open Cup. He won Spring Champs. He got second in Brawlapalooza, and obviously he's the US West Regional Qualifier, but he was never really a headline in the news. He was just doing well all season. He wasn't like Bumi was the focal point of Shine after obviously Bumigate happened when he tweeted on stage, and then Noel was a focal point at Shine as well because he ended up winning the event. But aside from the US West Regional Qualifier scandal that happened, LDZ's kind of been under the radar, even though he's been playing well. So a lot of people counted him out going into this. We've seen nothing from him on land so far this year, but it was Egg recently that said LDZ has the highest potential to play the best here. It's that potential energy that he needs to unlock. He's very deep. Close. This could be the GIMP opportunity. Dr. Faison misplaying it just a little bit. LDZ didn't seem to be afraid, though. He was in no rush to get back up.
He's just swinging with those side airs off the stage, but LDZ going to be underneath Dr. Faison. Dr. Faison trying to even up this damage, and he is going mirror match against LDZ. Weapon toss from Dr. Faison not working out for him. The side air from LDZ just going to lead into that nair, and LDZ takes the first stock.
Both players kind of just trading back and forth now, not getting into really huge strings at this point. It's a trading dare for dare, trading side air for side air, neutral light. Ooh, the X pivot neutral air is not going to end up hitting LDZ off of the GCD light.
Recovery from LDZ does get him back to that wall. Dr. Faison really thinking about how he's going to take down this stock. Going for the side stick. He does hit the neutral light, but no chase dodge into the recovery. He needs the kill option. Those neutralites are not going to be any sort of variable force move.
I think he's just worried about how far behind he is at this point. The Cider, there's the weapon toss. Talked about the Nair. Dr. Faison just barely able to get back. You see LDZ just kind of hovering there, though. He's looking for, okay, what's my opportunity? Is he going to disengage? Is he going to go back in? If he goes back in, I'll figure out what I need to do. The neutral signature clipping Dr. Faison, and that's is going to be yet another stock going the way of LDZ. I think he just looked over here. LDZ just literally looked over here and smiled at me. That man's is crazy.
LDZ,
stop looking at me. Play the game, dude. He just gave me a hang loose. I've never seen LDZ ever do that in my entire life.
The disrespect to Dr. Faison, not even full concentration mode. LDZ can play this game one-handed. Doesn't even have to look at the screen.
I'm shook. I can't even imagine what Dr. Faison is feeling right now. He's been looking so strong, so confident this entire weekend. Can we see the Gimp opportunity here? And Dr. Faison, that's why you don't look at me, LDZ. That's why you focus on the game, because Faison is not out of this. Look at his record this weekend. The record speaks for itself. You can watch his entire path through the tournament. You're seeing green all over the board for all of those victories.
Dr. Faison.
He almost picks up the ground pound. LDZ's going to find the unarmed dare. Dr. Faison's still there. He doesn't get the ground pound after that unarmed dare. There's the dare from LDZ. There's another
get
dare.
The Gimp? Dr. Faison gets above. LDZ full disengage over to the left side. No stock finished. LDZ, though, has done quite a bit of damage onto Dr. Faison's final stock.
Faison definitely capitalizing towards the end of this game, though. Nice weapon toss. Follows up with a chase dodge into the dare. He's trying to take LDZ into the sky. The side air.
He burned a lot.
These two Lucians struggling to kill one another right now. It's going to be LDZ going up 2-0. You see a little bit of a sigh of relief coming out from him. That exhale towards the end.
He knows he almost threw.
He was worried, and I would have been worried if I was him as well. Like he wasn't quite putting the full respect on the Dr. Faison that he deserved. And Faison was like, nope, I'm still in this, and that is going to be as a 2-0.
As a 2-0 going the way of LDZ.
And he will be moving on into the winners quarterfinals. He's top 12 at this point. Let's get some other updates on the bracket. Addy Mestic took out Viper 2-1. Isidru taking out Cake 2-0.
When are the EU dreams?
I don't want to say it's dying, but it's slowly fading. It's fading.
Cake was one of the players who has had the most efficiency, the most success on LAN against NA players.
It's been Cake and Addy.
Cake and Addy have been the two who have made it the farthest against NA players, and to see Cake go down makes it that much more difficult for the rest of the EU team.
Addy will be still moving on as he 2-1 Viper, but he did 2-1 Viper, so he's taking out yet another EU player on the winner side, sending him down into the loser's side. Doe Brain, we saw that one on stage. Effie 2-0 TB. Again, EU players unfortunately coming up against one another, and that's just as the tournament
EU
whittles
Civil
down.
War.
That's going to end up happening. Effie playing Nyx the whole time. It looks like TB played Cross and Lucian. It's going to be a 2-0. We just saw LDZ versus Dr. Faison. Wilson taking out Ariel 2-1. That's a little bit of surprise. We've seen some high placings from Wilson this year.
I mean, here in this spot in the top 20.
Yeah, but coming up against Ariel and winning out over Ariel in 2-1. And I believe that's all for the winners bracket right now. Let's see. I think Maltum, I don't know if we reported Maltum taking out Steven Ayer. Steven Ayer is out of the tournament. Tyku took out Kyler Alice. Tyku will be moving on in the losers bracket. Sadly, Kyler Alice will be out of the 1v1 tournament here.
iThrow and Tiger are also fighting in the lower bracket. If iThrow takes down Tiger, then that is going to be it for the non-NA and EU players.
Well, who do we have coming up next?
Coming up next, we've got Wrenched versus Addy Mestic. Wrench coming off hot from that win, that 2-0 over Noel. On the other side, Addy Mestic with that 2-1 win over Viper. If Wrench takes down Addy Mestic, then that EU dream will slowly dwindle. Addy Mestic, the other side of the Cake and Addy coin of EU players who have had a lot of success on LAN.
Now, a little bit of schedule right now. We are in the middle of 1v1's top 32 right now. We will be whittling down until top 8. Keep in mind, this match is a winners semifinal qualifier match. So we're in quarterfinals right now, which is going to be the top 12. The winner of Wrench versus Addy Mestic will be moving on to winners semifinals, which will be top 6. So the winner of this, we won't see any more of them until after the break today. We have 1v1 top 32 right now. Then we will see 2v2 top 8. Then there will be short break 2v2 top 4. Then we will see the 1v1 tournament finish up after this.
button checks underway. Just going to make sure that those keys still in Dude Clack. Not sure if those brown switches that he's got, those Cherry MX reds, are going to be working out.
Are they reds?
No, I'm just...
You're just looking at the red lights on the keyboard.
No, I was just saying keys. I said brown switches first, and then I said Cherry MX reds because keys. Speaking of keyboards, shout out to the sponsor, AZO Keyboards. You can see that AZO mouse between Wrenched and Addy. That's that glowing blue thing. Also, shout out to Scepter monitors.
Glowing blue thing. Real quick update on the bracket. One more. QS, Corsation, just took out Starlight in the losers bracket. So Starlight is out of the tournament.
He's still got 2v2s.
He does still have 2v2s with Silly Gobi. So there is a real good chance that he could be going all the way through the 2v2 bracket.
Not too dissimilar from last year's BCX. Starlight didn't have as much success in the 1v1s, but he, alongside Tyku, were able to win it out in the 2v2s. So might be seeing a similar story here at BCX 2017.
Let's look at Addy's placings throughout this year. I'm trying to find my tab in my spreadsheet. He started off a little tough. Winter Champs going 17th place. He also took like 17th place in Stream Me. Took 7th in Brawl League Open Cup, 9th in Riddle Brawl. He did win the Brawl League Spring Fling. That was an EU-only tournament. He took 2nd in the BCS Summer Slam. He took 5th in Summer Championships, losing to ERAM and Doe Brain. I don't know if there's really a possibility for him to fight either of those moving through this bracket. Then we had him take 3rd at Shine, which I believe Cake took 2nd. So Cake was no, never mind, that was Remy. So Addy was the furthest placing EU player at Shine, and then at Combo Breaker he took 5th. That, I believe, was the tournament that Cake took 3rd. So it's been between Cake and Addy of who is the highest placing EU player on LANs. We still haven't seen EU players take LAN. This could be the first time we see that.
But it is going to be very difficult when you start off with a lead like that. Wrenched almost a full stock over Addy Mestic. And that's not a gimp that happened. That's just control from Wrenched on that Ember.
That's just raw neutral game coming out. That's raw momentum, speed, and power coming out. Control from Wrenched.
Really good stuff from Wrenched, showing us why he earned that 2-0 over Noel. He is just completely playing out of his mind this weekend. Wrench going in underneath Addy Messick, going to try to keep that Qatar play going, but Addy Messick going to put some pressure out with that sword, going to try to keep Wrenched on that corner.
Now we've seen some character swaps. We've seen people play new characters that we're not used to, but Wrenched on Ember and Addy Mestic on Val. That is just straight vanilla character picks that we are so used to from these players. Addy Mestic has committed to Val, I think, more than anyone now. Now Starlight's off of him.
Egg dropped him.
Yeah, Egg Soup has dropped Val as well. Not a lot of Ember players out there either. There's still Zaloxery, but Wrenched is pretty much one of the few who has 100% committed to Ember for the long haul.
Ooh, Addy actually going to save Wrenched a little bit with that recovery from the bottom of the map. A lot of damage has been put out onto Wrenched on this very low defense character. Didn't quite catch the stance, so not sure if he's going in with that 4 defense, but at best, that's 4 defense. That's not a lot.
That's a big ground pound. I don't know if he's on the attack stance either, but I don't think he would have needed it there. That bow ground pound has so much force, but the trade-off is it is tied for the slowest moving ground pound in the game, tied with guns.
But we are seeing a lot of the bow players this weekend being very precise with that, trying to get those rested ground pounds. If you're going with a bow ground pound, you want to try to get it the startup as minimal as possible so that you can get them with the hit, don't have to use that movement. Addy Messick not going to get 3 stocked, but he is more than a full stock behind Wrench right now.
Wrench has the bow. That means the kill options are at his disposal at this point. You're seeing all those stairs. Addy is not quite in kill percent at this point, but he is in the latter stages of Orange. That neutral, like getting him closer and closer. The GC side signature is going to get punished by Addy. He's taking Wrenched off stage, doesn't find the ground pound to finish up the string. Addy's in dangerous territory. Addy's going to end up falling. 2 stock coming out from Wrenched. Wrenched is keeping this train rolling, putting out the pressure there, and Addy just completely folded. Wrenched didn't even really have to do anything. His presence was presence enough.
Addy Mestic, nair, dare, nair, went for a ground pound off stage, completely forgot to reset his jumps, and fell to his death.
You know what's interesting about Addy, though, is you look at him and you see the water bottle next to him. he is one of the few players that we've seen
completely
stay hydrated. If you go back and look at the Shine footage of him, he had a water bottle in every single shot.
Caps off, got to be efficient as possible with that water bottle. And there are no easy access water bottles here. Sure, you can go to a vending machine, but other than that, you had to bring your own, and that's what Addy Mestic's done.
And they might have gone to a grocery store around here. It looks like that Wrenched and Addy Mestic both have the same brand of water, so I don't know if there is maybe a hidden water stash somewhere or if they went to the same vending machine. Not quite sure on the source of the water. We will get back to you with that breaking news on where they got the water from.
It's not Mountain Springs or water well.
It's not like the Poland Spring or Polish Spring, which is like always one of the main esport waters, or Nestle Pure Life, which should never be consumed by humans in their lives.
Wrench, skip attempt, turnaround from Addy Mestic.
Weapon toss. It looks like this is going to be that's going to be the stock, and Addy Mestic taking an early lead this game. He didn't want to overcommit too much because we saw that last time he overcommitted, it ended up costing him the game. Costing him the game.
But Addy Mestic is still currently unarmed against Wrench. Neutral sig, gravity canceled, and that is going to be the stock evener. No damage difference between the two of them, but Wrench has that weapon control.
Not used to seeing that neutral signature. Oh no, wrenched.
Full
Oh
disengage.
no, he went the wrong way.
Bait,
okay, all right.
And it works.
Oh, look, Wrench was smiling there. You saw the little grin on his face. Oh my, I mean.
We fell for it.
He bamboozled me.
So much movement inside of that Ember kit. That's that movement speed working out for him. I know back when they started changing around stances, Queen Nai specifically could not go under the stage because of how low her movement speed is.
I think Roland had that issue too, and I think
without Lance. Lance was the only thing he could do.
You were the one that actually mentioned that to me. I think it was only some stages that he couldn't get under.
Yeah, it was like Mammoth.
Yeah, it was like Mammoth and I think Twilight that he just could not go under, which is that would be rough if that was still the case, because a lot of players, like you see it so much on Thunderguard and King's Pass, but you also see it here from Wrenched. We've seen it, I think, a couple times on Mammoth, and Wrenched is going to end up falling. I think you've also seen it a few times on Twilight as well.
Some really good edge guard play coming out from Addy Mestic here, being able to hold his own. But in the neutral game, Wrenched is looking so incredibly strong, really keeping that pressure going on top of Addy.
Addy's holding on to this lead, though, right now. It's not a huge lead, but he is holding on to the lead. That big nair, we could see the stock coming down. Wrenched end up down airing, but it's just a little bit over Addy Mestic. That raw side signature, that is the Wrenched side signature. Like, that is completely unique to the way that he plays Ember. He will just throw out those raw side signatures.
Doesn't matter what weapon either.
He knows it's difficult to punish, especially on Katars. Like, he has the range on the bow signature, but the Katar side signature has very low recovery frame, so it's difficult to punish.
I am loving these weapon tosses from Addy Mestic, though. We saw just a little while ago, Wrenched, he had the side sig, and Addy Mestic wasn't in position to punish, but he ended up utilizing that weapon toss to increase his attack range so that he could follow up. And then we saw a little while ago, he was using it as a follow-up off of his attacks. He would do neutral light into a speed dodged weapon toss, really extending that range, really keeping Wrenched in that hit stun, trying to get as much damage out as possible.
Now you see Addy really being careful. He didn't want to engage Wrenched on the edge. Even though Wrenched is in the red at this point, a nair and a weapon toss could knock out Wrenched stock. But again, we saw Addy overcommit, and he's just completely avoiding that situation. Big damage coming out from Wrenched, taking Addy just in the beginning stages of orange. The side air almost sending Wrenched off the screen. Addy's about to pick up a sword. We could see a quick D-Light Sair. We could just see a grab.
He's going to wait.
We could see a dare on the edge. We could see a D-Light recovery.
Could go for that side sig over the corner, as it does have that property where if it doesn't land, it'll end up going downward. But Addy Mestic, I think he just wants to wait for Wrench, try to get this neutral game, not make any over-aggressive plays off stage. And all he needs is one good recovery, one good side air, could be the finisher on a Wrench stock.
Addy's still struggling to find the kill options. The recovery is going to be it. The low defense of Wrenched's Ember not working in his favor. Both players taking a much-needed sip of the water.
Gotta stay hydrated.
And it is the defense stance on Ember. So he is going with that forward defense.
And then I believe that is the strength stance on Addy Mestic. That tends to be the stance for Vals. Yeah. As it does help kind of mitigate that issue of having a relatively low damage character.
That's what Egg did. That's what Starlight did. That's what Addy does. And I think it's also, it's not even just the stat being low, but it's like the neutral sig kill option on the sword is going to send you to the farthest reaches of the blast zone. So really far away, hard to kill with that. The neutral signature on gauntlets as well. If you hit that on stage, it's going to bounce you off the stage, so you're going to lose some of that force. So to kill with that, you really need to do it off stage. So yeah, that's just kind of by design of the character. I think it's just most efficient to use that force.
Addy Mestic versus Wrench, game 3. Loser of this is going to go down into the lower bracket, but Addy Mestic doing a decent job holding his own. Gimp attempt from Addy Mestic, double ground pound. Wrench does have jumps. Third ground pound does not connect for Addy Mestic. Wrench makes it back up onto the platform, but will take a little bit of damage for his troubles.
Addy wasn't quite reading exactly where Wrench was going to be in that push-off column for the ground pound, but he does have the damage deficit in his favor at this point. Wrench floating a lot at this point. You're seeing him touch the ground pretty much only long enough to reset his jumps.
You see Addy trying to make that adjustment to it, trying to get that dash jump recovery underneath Wrench. There you see that recovery hitting him. Wrench getting close to that kill box, but still has a little bit of health to play with before Addy can finish him off with that punish opportunity. Side stick connects, and somewhere out there, part of the Creed is screaming his little girly head off.
Yeah, he's probably going insane right now. Actually, I don't know. He might be in a high-pressure situation right now watching somebody scrim, so who knows? He could be watching a game as well. Or maybe no, I don't think he's casting at this point. I think it's...
He's not, isn't he on Data FGC?
Is he right now? I don't know. Yeah, I think he's opening up on Data FGC. He probably has his ears tingling or something weird like that.
He just sneezed once really quick.
Yeah. Creed has funny sneezes, though.
Addy Mestic is able to avoid the weapon toss, but there you're seeing that NA gravity cancel down like into the ground pound. We haven't seen any EU players do it. It's really been NA players who've really done it. We've seen Noel, LDZ, Wrenched, and one other. We're really doing it a lot.
I can't remember who I saw doing it really consistently over on Biffy Techie with TBK yesterday, but they were able to edge guard hammer really well with it because they were coming in from the side of it rather than right on top of it.
Gobi was doing it a lot.
Yeah.
Gobi
did it as well, too. But it's cool that we're seeing that more and more often on the edge as well. Not even just like on the corner where they expect the hurt box to peek over the corner, but they've been doing it as an edge guard tool, like all the way on the edge, getting the timing on that really well. That used to kind of just be Medusa who would go for that, but it's cool to see the timing on it now.
Oh, good ground pounds from Wrench, though. Really good stuff. Very patient on that edge guard. Didn't overcommit in the ground pound. Instead, hit one, waited for Addy to burn a couple things, and then went in with that second one. And that is going to put them at a very even final stocks.
I feel like if you take 2 bow ground pounds, unless you're fresh when you take the first one, like you're going to die.
You're basically dead.
Down signature for the range. Rent's going to get through it, but there's going to be no punish coming out from him.
Addy Mestic with the movement, doing a really good job dashing around Wrench. Can't quite get the follow-up off that downlight as Wrench kind of fast falling off of it. Side take connects, and Addy takes down Wrench. The EU dream continues, and Wrench is going to go down into the lower bracket. He does get to say that he 2-0'd Noel, though.
He absolutely, that is a badge of honor to wear.
A very
moving
big
on
badge.
At this. Don't let this be a blow to your confidence. Keep going forward. Addy throwing his threes up there. I think he's one of the first EU players I've seen throw their threes up. I think Eram is the only one I've ever seen do it. Maybe Maltimum in his moments of cheekiness. But Addy, I think I saw him shake his head at the end of that. I don't know if that was maybe a frustrating set or just a really draining set for him because he did start out far behind in the beginning. He had to come back and win those 2 in a row.
I know there's a lot of players out there who tend to just be upset at themselves, not necessarily at the set or the way that their opponent played, but it's just they get upset at themselves for making a couple of mistakes, for dropping a ground pound that they should have had. Likely that one early gimp that he just barely managed to not hit, where he had the double gauntlet ground pound and just managed to miss that unarmed ground pound. He's going to play that back in his head a couple of times over. But coming up next, we've got STTP Wilson versus Doe Brain. That is straight to the point. Wilson going to be going up against Doe Brain, the Russian menace himself, Putin's golden boy, as you like to say.
Dude, that's my favorite one that I came up with. I like to take credit for Kremlin Gremlin, but I totally stole that from Tyler. There's about 4 people here that know who Tyler is, but that is one of our shared friends who came up with the name the Kremlin Gremlin.
That's a good one.
Let's do a quick bracket update. I'm looking through it, trying to remember what we reported last time. I think we pretty much reported everything so far. We just saw the 2-1 between Wrenched and Addy Mestic. Going down into the losers bracket to see who was eliminated. Blood Diamond knocked out Ariel 2-1. Hyper Hero knocked out
That's
TB.
Wilson versus Bumi.
What?
It's Wilson versus Bumi, not Wilson versus Doe Brain.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about on stage right now. Blood Diamond knocked out Ariel 2-1. It looks like iThrow ended up knocking out, who was that? Tiger. So Tiger, sadly, will be having to go home. Tiger and Kyler Alice both knocked out at this point. Let's see. Hyper Hero knocked out TB. Maltimum knocked out Mini. The second place BCX placer from last year is going to be taken out over Mini right now. Pugsy knocking out Cake. Cake has been playing like a monster this weekend. I've seen like 9 different people tweeting about how well Cake has been playing in singles, in doubles. It's sad to see Cake get knocked out at this point. Tyku knocking out Viper. Dude, Daiku's going.
I'm a fanboy of Tyku. I'm rooting
Viper.
for Tyku, and you can see that next match that is currently underway. Tyku versus Noel, and Daiku's already won over.
If you want to watch that,
yeah,
I don't blame you.
I do not blame you.
It's that FGC. I would go there right now because that match has huge implications for the future of the tournament. Noel, the way he got to fighting Tyku right now was knocking out Kosalix 2-0. So Kosalix is knocked out of the tournament. Man, this is tough.
This is intense,
This
man.
is really tough.
We're just up here talking, and I'm legitimately getting stressed out for some of these players.
It's like we're getting good news, but we're also getting bad news.
It's everything is bittersweet because you don't want any of these players to go home. You're rooting for all of them, and yet only one gets to succeed in all of these situations. Coming up next, we've got the young Bumi versus STTP Wilson. Bumi, you can see him on that left side with the headphones in, likely listening to some sort of music. I know Egg Soup, he was saying that he was listening to Beethoven, interestingly enough, yesterday when he was playing his matches out. Not sure if Bumi is quite the Beethoven guy, might be a Bach guy, might be a Lil Pump guy, not too sure.
I know Creed's a Lil Pump guy. I don't think Bumi's in a Lil Pump, though. Keep in mind, we were just talking about losers bracket and people getting knocked out of the tournament. This is in the winners bracket, so neither of these players will be going home after the implications of this set. Wilson on the Queen 9, no surprise there. What?
Sorry, you just said the implication. I'm just laughing about it.
I mean, I probably said that word in the wrong spot. I've used implication a lot, so that was just the first word that came to my mind. I think I said that wrong. It's probably just said consequences or results, something like that.
It's mostly because I was laughing about that whole boat thing where it's like they're going to say yes because of the implication. You probably don't know what I'm talking about because you're staring at me very blankly.
Yeah, I got no clue.
So that's just somewhere out there. There's someone who's like.
I was gonna try and yes and you because that's what you're supposed to do in improv, but Anna got no clue what you're talking about.
just gonna look at me blankly. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's for all the times you stare blankly at me. All right.
You mean every time you talk?
That's payback.
Coming up next, or currently going on, Wilson versus Bumi. Bumi going in with that Diana. Wilson, he's been playing the Queen Nai. He kind of swapped off for a little bit, was playing that Ragnar, but it seems like he's back on that Queen Nai, and he's been doing surprisingly well this weekend. No offense to him, but definitely holding his own.
I mean, going into this, we were kind of surprised, or everyone was kind of surprised to see Wilson qualifying by circuit points alone. And that was kind of due to the caveat of he went to a lot of different lands. He didn't win those lands, but he placed reasonably well. So he had access to that huge bank of circuit points. And that's one of the reasons he was placing consistently reasonably well at lands. So he was able to get those circuit points, build those up when a lot of other players weren't able to go to every land.
Wilson, he's earned points consistently. He's been able to get points here and there. Shout-outs to Adapt for taking him out to the first land that he was able to make it out to. But since then, he's really just been keeping that going.
It was Fable.
Was it Fable? Oh, yeah, sorry, Fable. Fable took him.
He won Fable,
Adapt took
Lil
Pump. Lil Pump.
Lil Caps.
Yo,
when are we going to get adaptation Lil Pumped? Lil Pump, not Lil Pumped. I sound like a 40-year-old man right now.
We do see Bumi and Wilson are still going at it. Bumi, he's got the bow in hand, holding on to that first stock, going for that neutral signature, trying to get the second stock off of Wilson. Maybe a little premature as Wilson not quite in that kill spot. Recovery comes out, and Bumi is going to be taken down into that kill box in the sky.
Not a huge lead, though, at this point. It looked like Bumi was going to start to run away with it at the beginning, but Wilson did a good job once he died of putting a lot of control on everything he was doing, taking very little damage, licking his wounds when he needed to, also being very careful of when he wanted to initiate. Bumi's throwing out a lot of attacks. Some of them are connecting. Most of them are not. Very few of them have been punished, however.
I forgot who it was. It was that said that every stock is a reset. Every stock is a new game, and that's kind of how Wilson is playing it. He lost his first stock, but he's completely reset into the second stock, and he's doing an incredible job. Bumi almost taking that stock off, but Wilson going to try to at least mitigate this lead that Bumi has, try to even this up as much as possible.
Bumi's now in the orange. The fully charged up down signature on the bow really kind of hurt Bumi because he took a side signature to the face from Wilson. It was a great punish from Wilson. The neutral signature missing from Bumi as well. Bumi is now in kill percent. Wilson has all but evened this game up.
Side air from Bumi will take down Wilson's stock. But again, like you said, Bumi is pretty close to that kill percentage. Wilson going to be going in with an air, not quite a kill option. If he could have gotten the positioning, I would have liked to see a gravity cancel downlight in that recovery. But either way, Wilson still keeping that damage going on top of Bumi, just going to be trying to find that finisher.
Big damage, though, coming out from Bumi. The downlight into the side light, into the chase dodge dare. I always talk about how much I love Bumi's guns. He's able to build up DPS so effectively with him, use all of the kit, and his kill options, he doesn't just fish for the recoveries. He doesn't need signatures. You saw him kill with a side air earlier. He's able to edge guard with the down air very well. He's able to edge guard with the side air as well, which is something that's missing from a lot of gun players' repertoire. They're able to hit that side air, bounce off the wall, pick up the recovery, or hit the Sair in the other direction, hit the dare for the spike. Bumi's guns, like, he's such a mechanically gifted player as well, so he's able to hit those X pivot airs so consistently, so well. Then his bow play, look at this side air by side air, hit by hit, move by move, chunk by chunk, and he's going to take this game.
Really good edge play from Bumi with that bow, hitting those side airs to take down Wilson's third stock. It's kind of this ebb and flow that's been coming out between the two of them. Bumi will start to get this huge gap, start to get this big lead over Wilson. Wilson just kind of makes it back up a little by little, and then Bumi takes the stock. Wilson comes back, evens it up little by little, and then the gap comes out from Bumi, and Wilson's been doing a really good job of keeping it relatively even. He just needs to keep it even more even, so to speak, into that final parts.
Now keep in mind, this is top 12 right now at this point. This is a winner's quarterfinal match, so the winner of this will be moving on to winner's semifinals. Bumi is up a game at this point. I think if he would have gone with a bow Sair there, he would have hit. I think he just happened to guess wrong. That was down to a 50-50 situation, whether Wilson was going to be right next to him or below him.
Yeah, it was kind of just a prediction attempt. He got the wrong guessy, but he went for the attempt either way. He's still got that damage on top of Wilson, already hitting him with that neutral signature. Wilson very close to that left kill box. He's got to be careful of the down sig.
That's death.
That's got a lot of force behind it. That down signature is one of those moves that really can catch people off guard. You're seeing that thing kill at orange at certain spots, like a Twilight Grove on the island. Basically kills us fast.
That would have killed it orange there for sure. Wilson now is able to put out the damage if he didn't have to play catch-up. It's like that switch that gets flipped when he starts to lose. If he was able to flip that switch earlier and play like that the entire game, the down signature all the way on the left, even with the high force of Queen 9, not able to kill. The ground pound, even though it bounced Bumi off the wall, is going to have enough gas on it to send him off to the right into that right blast zone.
Wilson, one of the few players who hasn't really been utilizing that weapon toss as an edge guard tool. Instead, he's been mainly retaining it as far as weapon denial goes. That time, he does try to catch Bumi with it, but it's only so he can swap on over to these guitars so he can get in on top of Bumi's blasters. But Bumi underneath with the nairs, with the dares, almost gets that chase into the recovery. But this is what we're talking about from Bumi. He's got all this tech inside his blasters. It widens the gap so much, and then Wilson just has to spend his stock evening it up.
And that's the second fully charged signature we've seen Wilson punish with a side sig. And look, he's doing a good job keeping this relatively even. Bumi's in orange, Wilson's at late orange, so no huge lead except that high down light into the gravity cancel neutral heavy is going to kill. I mean, Wilson was technically kill percent because Bumi got the kill, but still, that was way before Queen Nai kill percent for sure.
Yeah, Queen Nai, highest defense in the game. Very tanky character, and Bumi, he's been so good at his positioning for these attacks, right? He got the down signature all the way onto the left side, farthest possible spot. He got the gravity cancel neutral heavy at the top of the map off the soft platform. Just really good positioning from Bumi, so that he's getting these kills at the earliest possible percent. But again, Wilson, he's doing such a good job of catching back up, but it's just a constant game of catch-up from Wilson.
That second stock was really solid, though, of staying almost completely even. It was super unfortunate for him that Bumi placed that D-Light into the neutral heavy so well. But aside from that, like the first stock he played behind, the second stock it seemed completely changed. And even after he evened up the stocks, he was still going relatively even. Bumi's running away with this, the GC side signature.
You don't see that every day.
That dare almost hitting as well. Looking for those kill options.
Side signature off that side air. That is that Bumi tech. He's been keeping this stuff in the back pocket, and this is the time to bring out the tech. Time to make sure that you have every sort of option covered, and Bumi's doing a really good job of that.
Wilson getting juggled into the air. Doesn't quite have the dead zone far enough, or sorry, close enough to him for the hitbox to hit Wilson. And that is going to be the kill, and Bumi is going to take it relatively easy. Like, it didn't look like he was struggling. He wasn't miles ahead, but it didn't really look like he was struggling at any point. It's going to be Bumi's Diana that's going to go up 2-0 over Wilson. Wilson going down into the loser's bracket. Let's see who Wilson's next opponent is going to be. It's going to be the winner of Maltimum versus Pugsy. So Wilson's looking at just looked at a very tough match, and
lower.
Yeah.
Tyku,
yep.
2-0ing no L. I'm going to probably go back and watch that set, but we do have a replay underway of Bumi versus Wilson. It looks like that's going to be the first stock from Bumi. This is where he goes for that down signature. Nice weapon toss, able to pick it back up and catches Wilson in the recovery frames of that down air.
I'm still just in awe that Tyku took out Noel. Like,
it's all bittersweet, man.
I know that you wanted Tyku to make the run. I wanted Tyku to make the run as well. Honestly, I didn't think Tyku necessarily had it in him because we've seen him talk big in the past, and we've seen him do well up until like this point in the tournament, and then this is a downward spiral. He is continuing this momentum like we haven't seen him do since like
2014,
2015, back when he would win tournaments from EU that were on NA servers.
Right. Back before,
when before EU servers even existed. Like, this is real old Tyku just showing his pure mastery of the game. This is those 10 hours a day that he has put in grinding on this game. You've seen him tweet about how his hands hurt after the day is done, and I fully believe that that's not just for show. A lot of things Tyku does is for show. I don't believe that that is one of them. You and I saw him walking around earlier with the hand warmers in his hands. The fact that he took out Noel, nobody has beaten Noel on LAN except Bumi at CEO Dreamland.
Until now.
Until now.
Where Wrench 2-0s him and Tyku 2-0s Noel. There are upsets for days. Definitely check out that bracket, smash.gg/BCX, to follow your favorite players as well as the players who potentially beat them.
I don't think we have any other bracket updates for you. Most of Winner's Bracket will be streamed. The rest of Winner's Bracket going into top 8 will be streamed right here on Brawlhalla. I'm looking at the rest just to guide y'all. QS versus Blood Diamond is on Bifu Techie right now. That is tied 1-1, so that might be a nail biter. Wilson's game will be on Data FGC. Tyku's next game will be here on Brawlhalla. Wrench's next game will be on Bifu Techie. We don't exactly know who Wrench will be facing yet. There's a couple steps that need to happen before we know who that will be. And then the winner of QS versus Blood Diamond will be on Bifu Techie as well. So again, check out smash.gg/BCX for the full schedule of where
put
things
them on all
will
your
be,
monitors.
when they will happen. Yeah, absolutely.
All open.
Everybody, you have 16 monitors, right? Just put all of the placements on one. Put Division 3 bracket, put Division 2 bracket, Division 1 bracket, put all the information up, because it's super cool seeing all of the journeys that people have taken as they get through here. And we have now we have on the stage ready to go. We have Effie. We have Effie versus LDZ. We saw Effie take out Egg Soup yesterday off stream. Effie is another one of those players that we've seen them do well up until a point in tournament, and then they fall off. Similar to Tyku, not quite the same type of player, but similar to Tyku, they hit that demarcation point, and then they tend to struggle a little bit more. Keep in mind, this is another winner's quarterfinal match, so the winner of this will be moving on to semifinals, securing their spot in the top 8.
This is going to be an interesting match, to say the very least. LDZ has been looking incredibly strong this weekend. the last of the remaining regional qualifiers to be in the upper bracket. We've seen that many of them have fallen off, but LDZ, the one holding strong for the champions. On the other side, Effie has been doing very well this weekend. I mean, it was a very, very close finish to get out of the playoffs, but he's made it into the top 32, and he's making this run with the scythe that he's been running. That Nyx play, for the most part, has been what he's been doing. On the other side, we saw LDZ on the Lucian a little while ago. Potentially could swap it out, but it'll likely be the Lucian for the most part.
I'm assuming that Bodvar pick is just for button checks. We're about to go to button checks here. Quick stage banning out just so they can get it going. LDZ wearing a leather jacket this year. Last year it was all about the red hoodie, and I ended up buying a red hoodie just so I could be cool like LDZ. I brought it. I think his was a zip though. For some reason I thought it was a pullover.
Well, you only want pullovers.
Yeah,
so.
but I mean, if I'm gonna be just like LDZ, then I gotta get a zip. So I just have.
Well, now you got to get a leather jacket with a black hood.
I have one. I didn't bring
it's not black though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
I have one. I just didn't bring it.
Oh, the one that you
I have one
is
exactly,
the brown one.
I have one exactly like that, though, that I bought in preparation for going to Boston for PAX because I knew it was going to be negative 1,000,000 degrees. And I live in Texas,
a very chilly city.
So I don't have any cold weather clothing.
Looks like button checks are indeed working. And we are going to be getting underway with this best of three. The best of threes are running out. We are slowly but surely going to be getting into those best of fives when we come back from the 2v2s. But before that, Effie versus LDZ. No surprise to see Effie on that Nyx. He's got his own skin, man. He's got that haircut and that skin.
I had trouble figuring out who was Effie and who was Egg Soup yesterday on the screen, just because Egg was playing Koji, who has the ponytail, and obviously that Nyx has the ponytail. Also, Effie himself has the little kind of ponytail thing with those gorgeous locks that he's going on. Absolutely some of the most beautiful hair in Brawlhalla for sure.
Looks like LDZ is going in with this Diana pick, interestingly enough. Not going to be that Lucian that we saw earlier, but he's still going to have that Blasters play that he's going to retain, as well as the bow, going all the way back to his win at BCX last year. He had the Koji, and he had easily the best bow out in the scene at the time, but LDZ is going to be using that bow on this Diana. We've seen a lot of Dianas this weekend, and we are going to be continuing to see those Dianas as LDZ is going to start off with the first hit onto Effie.
Sidelight picks up the nair, gets the side air, gets the nair. That is vintage Effie back when Scythe first came out, and he really kind of developed that string and executed it perfectly, better than anyone else out there. The neutral light, though, coming out from LDZ, the clapback with the side air from Effie.
Damage advantage still going the way of LDZ, but Effie with that gravity cancel neutral light into the recovery, puts LDZ onto the back foot, trying to keep him off stage, but LDZ, he is so good with the bow, Sair, and dare strings. That's what he's been doing to kill people for so incredibly long, is he'll just hit a Sair, hit a dare, and you are dead.
See Effie waiting. I think he's waiting for the perfect way to place that ground pound. He's using a lot of ground pounds yesterday against Egg Soup. Usually you see people using the recovery on the edge and the dare to switch up the direction, but he was doing like multiple 3 and 4 ground pounds, one after the other, placing them so well, using them point blank, using them far away as well. But he's used them, I think, better than anybody else that I've seen.
Well, one of the things about that Scythe ground pound that's really effective is the fact that, A, you can hold it and you don't have to release that hitbox until you want to, similar to the Gauntlet ground pound, as well as the fact that Scythe has a really strong recovery, and so you see a lot of Scythe players not necessarily looking for the hit with the ground pound, but they'll immediately follow up with that recovery, similar
like
to a Hammer player.
It'll be exactly like
and they'll
Hammer.
go for that recovery, and you'll see Gimps done with that recovery, or even just like a reverse snare.
Also, it kind of has the cone of influence.
Yeah, like a sword dare.
Yeah, where it hits like directly below you. It's not quite as far as sword dare, but it's a little bit in front of you as well as directly below you. So you don't have to quite be as precise as like a sword ground pound, where it's pretty much just directly below you.
Yeah, back when Scythe first came out, I was a big fan of doing dash jump, or well, dash wasn't there at the time, but like a jump ground pound similar to a sword dare, because I'm a big fan of using dare approaches as an axe player. But Effie going to be sticking with this Scythe. We did see LDZ get that first stock, but Effie was able to find the response with his Scythe play. Likely, Effie's going to be basically only playing this Scythe. On the other side, LDZ really just swapping it up. He's got the blasters for damage, but his bow play is going to be that killer.
Effie not quite finding as much side success with the strings as he did in the beginning, but again, he hasn't taken too much damage. Like, look at the health bar in the top right. He's not too far behind LDZ at this point. That neutral light is going to proc him just almost into red at this point. The weapon toss, LDZ picking up this bow. He's going to be looking for the kill options. He has Effie off stage. We're going to see the falling side air. He goes for the side air to the right. And the neutral sig. More and more people are using the neutral sig. You saw Bumi use it a lot. I really like that. I love specifically bow down light because a lot of people will spot dodge. They will jump or they will up dodge.
Yeah.
So you hold, you charge the neutral signature just a little bit. By the time your hitbox comes out, they are out of iframes. If you go for it immediately, they'll have enough iframes to get through it. But if you charge it just a bit,
definitely a strong tool that you see. They're using it in place of the neutral light in particular, right? Instead of the usual anti-air or like a dash jump nair, instead they're just going to be going over with that neutral signature as it's got that kind of spiking property that ends up setting players off of the platform.
Also, it's kind of an ode to Nairo. Back the day that Nairo and Gunblade played Brawlhalla, and they played Diana specifically and had the bow and freaked out because they were so surprised over the down light into the neutral signature. They called it down X to up Y, and they're like, "Yo, I'm gonna hit the down X to up Y," and it wasn't a true combo. Like it was nothing. It was straight up just a light attack followed by a signature, and they flipped out over it. It was hilarious. That was one of my favorite memes in the BH community for a really long time.
Stocks are closing down onto the final stocks. LDZ and Effie both not quite in that kill percentage, but LDZ getting a little bit of the better of Effie. Effie not able to go for the Nair Sarah string that he has been hitting so consistently this weekend. There's the Nair attempt, but LDZ trying to punish. You saw him jump and then immediately dare, just trying to find some sort of turnaround attack onto Effie for going that string.
LDZ just a little bit in front.
Ooh, that Nair hit behind.
Both players very careful at this point. We're seeing a lot of dashes forward, a lot of dashes back as well, just trying to get that perfect spacing. Noticing that, okay, closer and closer to kill percent. Do I go for the light attack here just for this moment, use the light attack defensively, or do I try to position better for a kill option? What do I do in this exact moment right now? Trying to read with that neutral signature, Effie getting right through it. The recovery just barely missing. That might have led to the kill.
Both of them so close to that kill. It's LDZ!
The grounded recovery. LDZ, a huge sigh of relief. He's not going to be looking over at anybody and smiling right now except at Effie, throwing that respect onto him. Both players, you see him wringing those hands. Effie taking a quick Jim Halpert look into the camera for just a moment. And there's another one. Look at that! Look at that handsome smirk coming out from Effie. He knows everything is on the line, and we aren't seeing the execution issues from Effie that we knew about last year. The confidence here is with him. He's played so well in twos. His twos partner Tyku is playing well today as well. So he can look at the bracket and be like, going into twos, my partner's killing it. I'm killing it. We're going to be going into twos feeling so good. We're both playing incredibly well today. That's going to transition over into twos. We have a good chance to win this. They don't even necessarily...
Yo, but don't concentrate on that.
That's true.
You got to concentrate on LDZ now.
That's true. You got to worry about the BCX1 champion.
You have to be worried going up against LDZ. And like we were saying earlier, a lot of eyes were not on LDZ coming into this. A lot of people were kind of sleeping on LDZ, but he is showing that he is still very much the champion that he was last year, and that has got to make a lot of people nervous.
And I think it's been... People have kind of, I don't want to say forgotten about LDZ, but we've talked about him so much. Like the second BCX was over, it was nothing but LDZ. Oh my gosh, showing why we talked about him for so long. But it was nothing but LDZ that I think people got, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Desensitized?
Yes, exactly. Desensitized to LDZ. It was like, yeah, he's good. We all know. Like, we get it. Talk about some other player. And so people have just kind of forgotten about that. Effie comes back with a screen of his own, goes into the final blast of the recovery, and LDZ keeping that position there,
bottle.
Not retreating, throwing up that neutral signature, and taking out Effie's first stock while LDZ's in the orange.
LDZ getting that first stock. Effie had such a huge attempt onto LDZ's stock with that Scythe Gimp. Couldn't quite finish it off, but you're seeing shades of Effie's pressure. You're also seeing him try to get the stock of LDZ. Barely dropped that one recovery. Almost got him with that gravity cancel neutral sig as well. Effie really looking for this kill efficiency on LDZ's stock.
Nice grounded side air into the side light. Good side air sending Effie to the right. LDZ posted up on that soft platform. Wants to keep that aggressive
Down
position over there.
sig!
GC down sig coming out from Effie, the top of it, sending LDZ stock out into the blast zone up in the heavens. But Effie's taking some serious damage. He's not quite in kill percent yet, unless LDZ chooses to hit
much force
move
on
the
that.
left side, man.
Killing that orange from that position. LDZ full stock lead over Effie with that down signature. Effie gonna have to find some sort of big response and damage. He's got the blasters in hand, but will it be enough? Nice dare into gravity cancel down light. Couldn't quite continue off that snare.
Oh no. I just looked at the bracket. If Effie loses this, he has to fight Tyku.
Oh.
If Effie loses this, he has to fight Tyku. One of those players will be knocked out in the loser's bracket. Effie needs to win this.
Trying to do his best. He got that down air, couldn't quite get that follow-up. He is getting decent damage onto LDZ's second stock, but LDZ
That's going to be it.
is going to take it 2-0 over Effie, and Effie is going to have to fight Tyku.
LDZ has solidified his spot into top 8 with that game. With that slick 2-0, LDZ is going to have to go up against his old teammate, Bumi, his old teammate and good friend in Bumi. But Effie, dude, that's heartbreaking. Not only do you lose the set and have to go down into the loser's bracket and risk it down there, you have to take out Tyku, your 2v2 teammate, your longtime friend.
And 2v2s aren't done. Like
Yeah,
after you beat him, you go into 2v2s. Like,
Oh, so do you wait? Do I take the L and keep Tyku happy so that we focus on 2v2, or like that's
rough.
You gotta pick your battles with your partner, right? It's just like a relationship.
you gotta have compromises in a relationship, and Effie and Tyku are gonna have to find their compromise.
And we're gonna be seeing that game, not next, but right after that.
Very soon.
It'll be on this stream, so definitely stay tuned here. Let's give y'all a update on the bracket. Did we talk about Blood Diamond knocking out QS?
Have not, and there you go. Blood Diamond 2-1 in QS.
I think that is all the news that we have for you right now. If you're looking to follow Blood Diamond, he will be on Data FGC next. He's waiting on Isidru and Doe Brain to finish up. That will be the next game that we will see on this stream. I don't think we don't have any other news to report to y'all. Wrenched will be facing on Bifuteki the winner between Dr. Faison and Hyperhero. It's interesting that those two have to face each other at this point because they've taken similar paths throughout this tournament. A player who is kind of on the periphery of top 8, top 16, coming through and just having wins all over the board, having their Smash GG brackets just lit up with green for victories. So one of them will be going home after that set. Hyperhero is initially leading in the set. I think we're about 10 or so minutes into it, so it might not be wrapping up too soon unless Hyperhero gets the slick 2-0 over Dr. Faison.
But while we get things underway, it is going to be Wise Isidru going up against Doe Brain. Doe Brain is going to be hailing all the way from Russia. Going to be going in likely with, I believe he was playing a Diana, if I'm not mistaken. He's kind of mixed it up. Might be busting out a Mordex as well. He's got a lot of characters in his character pool. He's the one on the left in that Enix jersey, repping the crew. On the other side, you've got Isidru. He's just repping Brawlhalla.
He's playing Olgrim.
Olgrim, okay.
And you know what's great? People are reporting their characters on the bracket. That is fantastic.
Or it's the TOs doing it for them.
Yes, somebody is reporting it, which just makes me
Shout outs to the
giddy.
TOs.
Shouts out to everybody who is reporting that, whether it's the players, whether it's the TOs. Both of them deserve credit for all the work that they've done this weekend. And the bracket just updated. Pugsy XD going 2-0 over Wilson. Wilson will be sadly going home, not empty-handed, but definitely without that gold, bronze, or silver medal, not in that order, around his neck.
Shout out to Pugsy, man.
Yeah, dude, Pugsy is running. He's running the game right now. He's running this gauntlet in loser's bracket. What do you think about Doe Brain versus Isidru, though?
I think it would be hard to argue that Doe Brain is not the favored player of the two. Doe Brain has been a longtime contender. Sure, he's had a little bit of missteps here and there, but he's looking incredibly strong. Going to be going in with this Olgrim, which is a strong pick. Isidru on the other side does have an Olgrim as well, so we could very well see that Olgrim mirror match. Expect a lot of signatures coming out from Isidru. Isidru, a big fan of utilizing signatures, not only for kills, but as well as damage. He just kind of throws them out like candy, and they work.
Now, so far today, you mentioned Doe Brain could play the Ulgrim. He played the Ulgrim against Double Dime, and then there was the Infra-Mini match that we saw on this stage where he played more decks. So you're absolutely right. We could see the Ulgrim mirrors coming out. Of course, they both picked random for the button check here. Keep in mind that this is winner's bracket as well, so the winner of this will be solidifying their spot into top 8. I'm surprised that Isidru has made it this far, though, because he used to team with Cyclist, and Cyclist was kind of the star of that team, just like with Noel and Blood Diamond. Noel used to be the star of that team, and it was Noel and kind of the guy who plays with Noel, Cyclist and kind of the guy who plays with Cyclist. It's so sick to see Isidru coming out to BCX. I don't think he was at any of the other lands, or I probably would have met him in person by now. So it's so cool to see that more than a few players are coming out and going big at the biggest stage in Brawlhalla.
Yeah, if there is any land that you want to bring out the big guns, any land that you really want to perform at, BCX is 100% the one that you want to be doing it at. And it is so awesome to see Isidru really coming into his own. We saw him slowly start to come into his own in the more recent tournaments leading up to BCX, but really good stuff coming from Isidru.
Now, while we're finishing up this button check here, let's talk about who has made it into the top 8 at this point. We have Addy Mestic moving on to top 8. The winner of this set will be top 8. We have LDZ and Bumi. And then loser's bracket is still finishing up. We have Pugsy, who has solidified his spot into top 8, and it's exactly what you said. We have double Ulgrim.
Same skins.
And this isn't the meme double Ulgrim that we saw from Medusa.
This is real
that
stuff.
Was somehow shockingly effective before. This is main character picks right now.
This is earnest double Ulgrims coming out from both Doe Brain and Isidru. You see the bands are coming out. What map is it going to be? These are the top 3 generally, and it's going to be Small Mammoth that ends up being the map of choice. Isidru versus Doe Brain.
Now, I don't think I've seen very many of Doe Brain's games where he played Ulgrim so far at BCX. So the last time I caught a glimpse of it, but I was busy that day, was the EU regional qualifier. I think we're going to see maybe some different styles of Ulgrims. Isidru is more of a signature-heavy Ulgrim. Just like he played the Caspian back in the day, throwing out those a lot of signatures, specifically the Qatar side signature, a lot. So I think we're going to see definitely more signatures coming from him, whereas we're going to see more standard, just light attack, neutral gameplay from Doe Brain.
We do see Doe Brain playing a relatively standard neutral game on top of Isidru. Lots of side light nairs, going for that weapon toss as the follow-up, just trying to keep Isidru from going immediately down into a fast fall dare.
Doe Brain's completely controlling all of the pacing in this game. He legitimately is making it look easy right now.
Doe Brain just kind of AFK grinding Isidru right now. Just that lance. He's just been hitting the side light nair with a weapon toss in between. But he's just controlling Isidru, keeping Isidru from touching ground. Every time he comes close to ground, you expect that side light nair to be coming out.
Doe Brain, like, I looked at how much damage he took. I knew it wasn't a lot, but I didn't think it was that little. Like, he's already lapped Isidru at this point. Oh, so many lance sounds on the screen right now. Doe Brain's still going to pick up yet another lance. The side light into the nair is not working for Isidru at this point. That window is incredibly tight. It's still doable, but it's very tight to hit true.
Jeez, lance sounds for days. Dares approaching on both sides. They're going for a lot of those aerial approaches. Isidru mixing it up, going with a weapon toss. Maybe just a little bit annoyed with the sound effects, but he's going to be able to pick up that side sig. The second swing on the axe, gravity cancel to get through that weapon toss. Couldn't quite pick up the neutral sig, but lots of signatures coming out from Isidru.
And this is, I think, where we're going to see the signatures really shine is on the axe kit. They're not as strong or widely used, or maybe people just don't know how to use them on the lance. You tend to have a lot more recovery time and a lot more startup time on them as well, so they're a little bit more dangerous. They don't have like the long range that the side signature on axe has, where the axe is out in front and your hurt box is far behind them. It's not like the down signature that he just used, where you can cover both sides with it in one swing.
Yeah, I think the one signature on the lance that really got used was the neutral sig, back when sidelight neutral sig was really a strong option as far as kills go. But then players kind of fell off of that. They couldn't do it. So instead, they swapped on over to a lot of axe signatures. Doe Brain, again, almost a full stock lead over Isidru.
Sidelight into the downlight. Is he going to look for another one? It almost looked like he was fishing for the sidelight downlight reset. We're hearing some cheers in the background over on Bifu Techie. Not sure exactly what happened over there, but it was probably an extremely important match.
I do believe most of the matches are getting shown on all the other streams are now in the lower bracket, so every single set, if anyone loses, will be knocked out, so they've got to be incredibly tense. Meanwhile, Doe Brain, basically a full stock lead on Isidru, and like you were saying earlier, kind of making this look easy.
Like he really is. It's very cold and calculated, not just because he's on like the frozen dwarf or whatever that skin is called, but it's very cold and calculated, and it's rawly efficient. That's why the Russian space program has been so successful.
And shout outs to Sputnik. Gravity cancel side sig takes down Isidru. Doe Brain with a swift 2-stock over Isidru. Any character swaps, Isidru could be going to the Brawlhalla, could be going to the Bryn. He's also got that Orion that he used to really push, but it is going to be the Bryn that he locks in.
Now, very quick bracket update. Based on the cheering in the back, it looks like Dr. Faison taking it 2-1 over Hyper Hero. So the two, I don't know what to call them, because they're not new players that are coming in, and they're not
underdogs
or anything like that. Let's just call them the underdogs. Yeah, let's call them the top 32 underdogs. Sadly, one of them did have to go home. Dr. Faison moving on. He will be having to fight Wrenched. If you're looking for that match specifically, that's going to be over on Bifu Techie. Meanwhile, Blood Diamond's still waiting for his game. That is on Data FGC. But we will be moving in. We do see the character swap to Brain. What do you think about the character swap?
It is an interesting pick, Isidru. He's got a strong axe. He did kind of over-rely on Lance, I want to say, especially when he was doing the Lance mirror against Doe Brain, which ended up being a little bit awkward. Not sure if Spear will give him that much more advantage. Really, the thing he's got to worry about is Doe Brain's Lance. And at the very least, he's going to have a little bit more movement speed to get around those Lance approaches, really start baiting out attacks and trying to punish them.
Maybe he's just looking to keep the sidelight away with that Spear neutral light, the jab poke.
But this time, Doe Brain going full axe mode on top of Isidru. He has chunked away a whole lot of health, putting Isidru close to that kill percent. Isidru able to get behind, but no weapon spawn. It's all the way on the right side, and Doe Brain just trying to completely deny it. You can see the way he is moving, putting himself between Isidru, and when Isidru gets past him, immediately dashing back so he can be back into position.
Now, see, this match is kind of making me mad because it doesn't make Isidru look as good as he is.
He's a very good player.
Doe Brain is truly making this look easy. He doesn't have necessarily the biggest lead, but last game, like he made Isidru look like he's not a good player. But every single game we've seen the caliber of players that have made it this far. Like Isidru is a good player. He's showing signs of life here.
Couldn't quite finish the stock, but we saw the attempts coming out from Isidru. Really had some big opportunities, got some decent damage for it, but like you were saying, Isidru is a very high caliber player, and he is showing some of that, hints of that, in the early stages of Game 2.
Nice weapon toss as the gap closer there. Instead of just straight dashing in or trying like people used to in the old days of dodging in using those iframes, he uses that weapon toss as the gap closer, that just kind of punctuation mark, more of a comma there or a semicolon, allowing him to approach.
Are you an English teacher in your
I speak English. I write English.
You're just really infatuated with punctuation marks this weekend.
I don't know, man. I say momentum shift way too much anyway.
That's fair. Doe Brain does get the stocks evened up as Isidru hits that signature. We've got axe on both sides. This is what Isidru is going to be looking for. He's got a pretty strong axe game. Didn't really get to utilize it when he was playing the Ulgrim Mirror, so instead he's going to try to bring it out on this Bryn. Nice dare into recovery.
Positional reactions and reads coming out from Isidru so far. He's not going to be able to rely on the sidelight to downlight hitting true anymore, but he is hitting his recovery shockingly well. He now has the lead on Doe Brain. It's slight, but this is the first time we've really seen him have the lead on Doe Brain in this set so far. Missing the side signature, not getting punished, jumps, hits the dare. Neutral light coming out from Doe Brain.
I'm liking these weapon tosses coming out from Isidru. They're the 45s. Really catching Doe Brain, but Doe Brain hits the sidelight into recovery. Both of them close to that kill percentage. Isidru really trying to find that finisher. We've seen him throw out more than a handful of those side signatures. Saw him throw out that down signature just a little while ago. On the other side, Doe Brain likely won't be relying on those signatures for kills. Instead, he'll be looking for the Sair or recovery.
Tried to pick up the ground in recovery, not quite having enough lateral or vertical movement. The side sig as Doe Brain goes over it is not going to hit. Both players very red at this point on their second stock.
There. Both of them so incredibly damaged. Doe Brain might be looking for a neutralite to kill at this point. There's so much damage on top of Isidru.
Now this game is starting to slow down between these two players. Like Doe Brain is really looking to put the respect onto Isidru. We saw him get a little bit greedy in game 1 and it worked for him.
Tried to punish the weapon toss. Isidru was underneath, but he charged it just a little bit and Doe Brain was able to neutralite his way out of it. The side air is going to be the kill for Doe Brain. Weapon clear. Over to the axe.
Keep in mind, this is in winner's bracket, so losing this wouldn't be great for Isidru, but it's not the end of his journey. It's not the worst thing in the world. He is going to be looking to tie this up. He just tied up the stocks. The health is pretty much tied, and it is tied now after that axe neutralite. Gets the side light into the down light. He can still rely on that. Doesn't get the recovery.
Down tick connects.
Finally picks up the down signature that he was looking for earlier. Gets the side air. Isidru putting out the damage that he needs. The weapon toss into the down air, keeping this train going.
Side tick comes out. Doe Brain is above, but immediately the down air from Isidru. He's looking so strong, just can't quite get the side tick.
He barely missed it.
Side air.
The side air. Is there going to be weapon toss? He's keeping himself armed. He doesn't want to disarm himself. The down signature barely missing. The nair coming out from Doe Brain. The side air.
Where's
He's
the weapon
so
toss?
close. The weapon toss. Isidru keeping himself alive, feeling good. You can see him getting the blood
tingles, man.
moving in his hands. That is a huge sigh of relief. The stress is not over, though. Moving into game 3, you see the smile. I'm sure Doe Brain just said something nice, something like that was good. That was sick, dude. That last stock was nuts.
Putin's
coming out from Isidru. Saying you're on the list of KGB now.
Really thinking hard. Doe Brain is concentrating, trying to figure it out. But Isidru, he's got his own little fan club behind him.
Yeah.
He is playing it out for them, but he's looking
look
so
at the way
good.
he just played. I mean, hell, I'm cheering for him now.
Yeah.
Too. Sorry, Doe Brain, you're my boy, but.
Mordex swap from Doe Brain.
We heard the howl. Everyone at home heard the howl. We can see it on our fancy production screen over here with all the little camera views and angles and all that kind of stuff. Is this switch, what do you think about this switch?
I think it's good for Doe Brain in the sense that Isidru really started to figure out what he needed to do against Ulgrim. It's a mix-up, something that Isidru now has to reevaluate, re-adapt to. On the other side, Doe Brain has already had a game against Isidru's Brain. He's already had some time to recognize how Isidru's going to be playing this axe out, and the answer is Isidru's going to play this axe out really well. Yep. Really well.
How is he going to play axe? He's going to play axe good. We're seeing the same momentum that we saw at the end of last game. The side light into the down light, into the nairs.
Good dodge
for the recovery. Doe Brain coming out with a string, throwing away his scythe, picking up the gauntlets, gets the side light, doesn't get the recovery.
Side sig, good dash back into the side sig, sends Doe Brain over to the left side. Goes for the down sig, Doe Brain just underneath it, kind of stutter steps just in case. But he's looking for the sig, both of them looking for that finisher. Lots of signatures coming out from Doe Brain. No connection, the down sig from Isidru, and he takes the lead over Doe Brain.
Now that was actually a lot faster than we saw really anything happen in last game. Isidru coming out, that's the confidence that he had, but also I think that's confidence on the side of Doe Brain as well. He says, I'm the better player here. I made the character switch. I'm confident that I can do that, and there's the immediately clap back from Doe Brain. He doesn't get hit by that weapon toss, and he's going to be evening this up.
Isidru just trying to get some damage on his way out, throws the harpoon, but Doe Brain just spot dodges through. Still staying very aware despite the fact that he knew that stock was done for. And we see Isidru trying to get inside of Doe Brain, utilizing that weapon toss to put him in some hit stun so we can get that unarmed follow-up. Going for the pogos, Doe Brain able to fall out of it. Nice little string.
Sidelight inlight into the reverse nair, gets the recovery. This could be the end of the stock, and it is. Doe Brain taking that lead that he had. It was dead even for a second. Initially, he was behind, and then all of a sudden, he turned it around, almost a full stock up. He has Isidru off the weapon. Isidru picks up that axe. The side signature, a little bit greedy on that. Here's the string. Doe Brain taking him into the air. He has lapped him on damage, more than a full stock up at this point.
The neutralite into side air, not a neutral air, side air, neutral air. Doe Brain mixing it up this time, goes for that reverse nair so that Isidru cannot be expecting the side air follow-up. Doe Brain, lots of damage has already been put out onto Isidru. Isidru's really going to have to come alive with his axe play if he wants to even this up.
Oh, he could be put in dangerous territory here. Doe Brain being careful, taking all precautions there after Isidru threw out that ground pound. You Electrolyte over the edge.
Ground pound
Oh,
comes out.
Isidru. He needs to be really careful here. There's the ground pound, and is that going to be it? Where's the weapon toss to finish it up? It's just going to be a ground pound, and Doe Brain is going to take it 2-1. That second game was a 2-stock. I think you're exactly right. Talking about that Mordex pick being the changeup, he already had that one game against the Bren.
Really good mix-up from Doe Brain. Really good stuff in his play. We saw the Scythe coming alive, but I do want to commend Isidru. He has an amazing axe, and he is far from out of this. He is going to be going down to the lower bracket, so it is going to be a little bit more difficult of a ride, but he is definitely not out of the tournament. Coming up next, though, a match that I am very nervous and excited for.
Like I want to see it, but I don't want to see it. Because I don't
Just make it a friendly.
I don't want
make
to
it a casual match.
It's one of those things like when you watch a really good TV show, like you want to see the ending because you want to see what happens, but then it ends and you have like what Hulu called it was a show hole, which is a disgusting word. Like nobody ever needs to say that.
I don't know, but we got a replay coming up of Isidru versus Doe Brain. This is going to be the final stocks of game 2 where Isidru had the really big play. You saw him go a little bit greedy with that down signature. Doe Brain comes back up, but there is the weapon snipe from Isidru.
It was that early recovery from Doe Brain. I think he just did that to be out of hit stun as quickly as he possibly could, trying to get away from that blast zone, put distance between him and the blast zone, but he ended up moving forward and up enough so that the weapon toss hit him, and there's the end of the second game with the single ground pound, and then he followed up with another one. He didn't actually need it because Isidru did not have enough movement options to get back to the side wall.
It was a good just in case, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a good, just in case he had enough movement. I'm going to go back down, try to get this stock off of him, and finish this up. But really good stuff coming out from Doe Brain, securing that spot in the upper bracket of the top 8. Isidru far from out of it. He's going to have to go down into the lower bracket to fight, I believe, Blood Diamond.
Yes, if you want to follow Isidru's next match, you can go over to twitch.tv/DataFGC. He will be facing Blood Diamond in the top 8 qualifier in the losers bracket side for top 8. I believe Wrenched and Dr. Faison is going on right now on twitch.tv/BiffUteki. That is also a top 8 qualifier match. I believe we have all of our winners side completely qualified for. We're going to have Addy, we're going to have Doe Brain, LDZ, and Bumi. They're going to be on the winner's side. On the loser side, as of right now, we have Pugsy. Then we have the game right now, Effie versus Tyku. We have Wrenched and Dr. Faison, Isidru, and Blood Diamond. They are going to be the ones fighting for the loser's side qualification into that top 8.
Winner of this will secure that spot in the top 8. Loser of this has to prepare for the 2v2. So maybe you do want Effie to lose, so that you can have more time to mull over what's going to happen in the 2v2 side. But it's going to be a heartbreaking loss either way. These two guys are 2v2 partners, and they are still in the 2v2s coming up in less than 20 minutes. Yeah. So they have a lot on their minds. This is going to be a very stressful situation. Tyku has been doing the lower bracket run. He started off in the lower bracket of today. He went, I think it was like 0-2 in his first game, but immediately went down in the lower bracket and has been doing the grind.
Tyku went 0-2 up against, let's see, SDTP Wilson, who Pugsy then later knocked out of the tournament. He went down into the losers bracket. Let's check his losers bracket run. He 2-1'd Kyler Alice. Where is it? And then 2-0'd Viper, 2-0'd Noel, and now he is where he is at this moment, going up against Effie. And truly, as a spectator, as a fan, I don't know who I want to come out of this, because I do respect Effie so much as a player. He was completely gone from the scene until Dash was implemented into the experimental. He was really grinding that. He was kind of pivotal, I think, in Dash actually getting implemented into the game, which did change a lot in how the game is played, in my opinion, for the better. So I want to commend him and really put so much respect and emphasis on how he was able to do that and how he was just doing things behind the scenes. But then on the other hand, I want to give Tyku credit for the sheer raw dedication that he put into this game, grinding literally 10 hours a day. I don't even want to be awake that many hours of the day, and he was playing Brawlhalla, grinding ranked game after ranked game after ranked game until his hands physically hurt and his eyes were physically like, he said they were bleeding. I don't believe that. I think he's being a little drama queen, but Tyku's dedication and practice for BCX, ridiculous. I have so much admiration for him, but he also didn't like me until last year's BCX, and honestly, I'm kind of ticked off because of that. I always thought we were boys. Like, can I tell you how many times I told Tyku, like, on a personal level in DMs, like, hey, man, thanks for always being so nice. Like, you are literally one of the reasons that I'm in the position that I am today. Because, like, he gave us his TeamSpeak back in the day.
Yeah.
Before Discord was a thing, we used...
If it wasn't for Tyku, we would not be here.
Yeah,
like,
we
just
used
100%.
Tyku's TeamSpeak that he paid for the first 2v2 tournament, the first thing we ever casted, and I always wanted to give him so much credit for that. But then he comes through and just shafts me and says, I didn't really like you until last year's BCX. So I'm kind of mad at him, and Effie's just been nothing but a sweetheart to me. So, like, this is truly a bittersweet
All right,
set.
you get Effie. I am a Tyku fanboy at heart. I have
Effie.
100% respect for Effie. I think Effie is an amazing player, and I absolutely respect what he's been able to do, but I'm a Tyku fanboy.
I'm definitely going to tear up after this set, though. Like this, I'm glad this is the last set, and then we get to take a 10-minute break, because I emotionally...
Gonna have to dry off the eyes.
Yeah, I emotionally need at least a 10-minute break.
Tyku!
Okay,
he got the touch.
He touches.
That was a very dangerous play. That's what we saw out of Egg Soup yesterday, is he would really wait to use his recovery tools. But we do see Effie with a monstrous start, already has the first stock off, and almost a full stock lead.
Yeah, that is a very big opening for Effie. Tyku recently, when he's been playing Diana, like, he inspired me to play Diana. You can ask Magma Bob. I've been playing Diana so much more in our late night scrims when we're in Rainbow Six queues because of Tyku's Diana. The way he's able to edge guard with gun dares, just his guns in general, the attacks per minute that he throws out is staggering because he doesn't get punished as much as he should.
He gets away with a lot, but we are seeing that Effie with that very cerebral play style, definitely aware of the punish opportunities. Tyku doing a really good job of putting damage out, but he still needs to get this first stock off of Effie. Really big pickup with that side air into the down air, utilizing it kind of like the Twilight Grove wall that we're used to seeing.
Effie continuing this lead. It's getting bigger and bigger by the second. He's almost completely even up the damage between the two.
Nice dash jump side air. Can't quite finish the stock off. Tyku going really deep. Still can't get the stock off. Goes for a gravity canceled side light on that right side. And Effie still maintaining that full stock lead. Tyku does get the stock, but he has to get this gap closed. He is taking so much damage to finish off Effie's first stock.
D-Light into the recovery for the kill. Tyku does need that adrenaline shot right here. He does have the bow in his hand. He has Effie disarmed at this point. Effie just now finally getting to the weapon. He does have the gun. Tyku's bowstrings are coming out. That ground pound from Effie missing. Getting punished with a neutral light from Tyku on the pop-up. Down light into the neutral light. There's the recovery. Tyku's putting out the damage. He's coming back.
Good stuff from Tyku. Edgeguard opportunity, but he's not going to contest that scythe. The power of the scythe, the nair, the recovery, so much threat from the scythe that Tyku just completely going to respect it. Goes for that one down air, but other than that, he mostly wants to play on stage. Good avoidance of that side sig. Down air connects. Weapon toss from Tyku. One ground pound.
Waiting it out. He waited it out so well. I'm so glad he went with that over the ground pound. The ground pound would have moved him down faster, and I think he would have gotten his priority interrupted with that recovery. I'm glad he went with the down air. It did end up leading to the kill, and Tyku just all of a sudden, when Effie almost had that 0 to death in the beginning, Tyku's going to come back and actually take the lead from Effie in this game 1. Like, that's huge for Tyku.
Really strong bow play.
The fact that he didn't tilt, the fact that it wasn't a downward spiral, the fact that he has the control and maturity to bring it back here, like this is new Tyku. Like, this is the best Tyku we've ever seen, the best version of himself as a player, as a competitor.
This is Tyku 2.0 coming out. Effie very patient here. Tyku really waiting out that wall slip. Goes for the dash over into the ground pound, but Effie is already passed. Tyku's still trying to widen this gap with his bow, utilizing the long range of the approach from that bow, trying to get those downlights, trying to get those dash jumps into the dare onto Effie.
And Effie seems a little bit cautious to engage onto Tyku on the edge. Like, I completely understand that. It looks like he was trying to do that earlier. You saw him throwing out those multiple ground pounds. He ended up going with the recovery as well. Like, he wasn't afraid initially going up against Tyku on the edge, but then Tyku immediately turned it around, and Effie just wanted to try and force the neutral game. He didn't want to put the risk on the side. He's on the edge now. He's going to have to answer to Tyku.
And I love the way that Tyku's playing these corners. It's not just the raw aggression. It's not just the faded back neutral. Instead, he kind of dances around that corner so that you don't know if he's going in for the edge guard or if he's going for the swing. But it seems like Effie, a really good play, putting some damage out. Nice little gravity cancel down signature a little while ago to put that damage back onto Tyku. Tyku, slight lead, but he needs to finish this stock off before Effie can close this gap.
Now you see Effie on the edge. He wants contest
Punish.
on the edge. Those floating there's the
Oh,
down air. That could
Tyku.
be the big shot. He gets
got
just
the touch.
Oh, Effie going with the gravity cancel down light. If he would have gone with the dare, it would have ended up hitting.
Both of them close to kill. Dash in, neutralite. Effie gets sent flying. There's a lot of damage on Effie, but Tyku's not too far behind. He can easily get taken down if Effie can get the hit.
Are we going to see the multiple ground pounds? Effie just playing right on
Ground
that
pound.
corner. The ground pound there, the floor saving Tyku. It didn't go right over that corner. That would have certainly killed. The down air. Is Tyku going to recover high or low? The side air, and Effie is just going to barely take game one over one hell of a comeback from Tyku, and then one hell of a comeback from Effie as well. The control between these two players that they have. We've talked about how
Look at the intensity.
how mechanical issues, transition from brain to hands, have plagued Effie in the past. Dude, those are gone. They are completely gone. The mechanical execution that Effie has, the mentality and execution that Tyku has. These are two players at their prime, the best that they've ever been in their entire career.
But one of them has to go down.
Dude, that's a bummer, man.
It is.
They both deserve to go so far. Everybody in this top 32 bracket deserves to go so far. They've worked so hard for so long and proven it to so many different people.
We're going right on into game two. Same map, same characters, Effie versus Tyku. Effie 1 game away from knocking Tyku out of the tournament and continuing on. He will have to do so if he wants to maintain his spot in the top 8. Otherwise, Tyku will get another opportunity. Dares coming out from Tyku. Can't quite maintain that pressure on the edge, but he has built up quite a little bit of damage onto Effie. Good avoidance of the down stick. Can't quite get that side stick follow-up.
Nice neutral light coming out from Effie. There was no X-pivot nair to follow that up. I think he's just being careful. He's just waiting at this point. He wants to get the dodge off of Tyku so he can put out that real DPS that we've come to see him do time and time again with the scythe, with his guns as well.
Tyku on the corner, gets the side take, takes the first stock, but can he maintain this lead? We saw him have a lead in game 1, and Effie was able to close out the set, or the game. Tyku cannot start to sit back on his laurels. He has to maintain this lead to the best of his ability.
See the downlights and inlights coming out from Tyku, using the range, the full range of the downlight to aggress from afar, and then the inlight is that defensive move, the 45-degree angle right as Effie gets popped up. There's a nice side air, finding that neutral light. He doesn't catch it.
Can't quite slide charge that neutral signature. Downlight and neutral light again coming out from Tyku, but Effie gets under with that recovery. Gonna be even up the stocks, but Effie is already getting close to that orange percentage.
Tyku having about 75 to 80 damage lead on Effie right now. He had Effie on the side, Effie going back to the main platform. Tyku's dodge is down. There's one ground pound, the second one.
Turn around.
Tyku's able to get the dodge after that and get right
That'll
above him.
do
That's
it.
going to be the stock of Effie. Tyku with a solid lead right now, but we saw Effie in game 1 have a full stock lead at one point. Tyku ended up narrowing it, but Effie took the stock in the long run. Big damage coming out from Effie.
Good stuff. That's the second time we've seen him hit that dare. Gravity cancel downlight into the side air.
Oh my gosh.
LDZ. The blasters coming alive for Effie. Tyku, minimal response in damage. Edge guard opportunity, but Tyku gets back on up. Oh, goes into the down 6. Still going to hold on to the stock. A little bit of dancing in the sky, but he's got no weapon to his name.
That was a great read from Effie, expecting Tyku to aggress forward. This time he did it with the downlight, and he perfectly caught him out of that.
Nice pickup.
If Effie would have been, I think, maybe 10 damaged, more damaged, he would have died there, because I think the second hit would have procced him in the red, and the final hit would have killed him.
Tyku trying to use the weapon toss, trying to use the tools that he has to get back up on the stage. He does get up, able to avoid that signature from Effie. Avoids the ground pound. Tyku can get game 2 if he goes in, but instead goes back, picks up the bow, and gets a recovery for his trouble.
We're hearing some cheering coming out of the Bifuteki stream. I'm going to check on the bracket right now to see the update. Effie, though, very close to being knocked out. That recovery doesn't quite pick up for Tyku. That would have been a huge sigh of relief if it did. Double dares coming out from Effie, both sending Tyku to the left.
Little bit of panic coming out of Tyku as he is fishing for this kill. Lots of recoveries, lots of signatures coming out from Tyku, and Effie is full-on capitalization mode for it.
Tyku now in the orange. He has to find the control. He can't fall behind on this last stock like he did last game when he had the lead. The bottom side of that is going to pick it up. Tyku keeping himself alive. It is tied 1-1. It's going down to game 3 to see who moves on to top 8 and who gets knocked out of the singles bracket at Brawlhalla World Championship 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia.
This is tense. You can see Effie on the left side trying to compose himself, trying to regroup on the other side. Tyku full concentration mode. He's got the head tilted down so he can see through his eyebrows.
That's the Tyku pose. Look through all the pictures from BCX last year and any LAN, you will see him looking exactly like that. It's intensity, it's ferocity. Then you look at Effie, it's more of like meditative, it's more of calming and collection. It's a difference between those two players, which I think makes them so unique as competitors and makes them so unique as a team, because you have two different types of people. You have the yin and the yang. You have the complementing, the comparison, the contrast between these two players, the duality of man.
Not the same man, so the duality of man does not quite...
It's the duality of men.
Oh, of men, okay.
Come on, man.
All right.
Duality of EU. I did say man. I tried to cover my butt, dude.
I was going to let you get away with it.
Thanks, man.
Tyku, though, has the blasters in hand. Back to the bow. I think Tyku's been having a lot of success with the bow in this matchup against Effie. Specifically, the downlight and neutral light have been really paying dividends for Tyku. Trying to play a little bit more aerially against Effie this time, trying to get that side air for his setup. Can't quite get it, but Effie getting some decent damage, keeping this even between the two of them, and Tyku forced to throw away the bow to try to get back up on the stage. Down sit connects. Tyku in a spot, but he gets back up.
Nice nair. Oh, doesn't end up picking up the recovery. Side signature coming out. Tyku just ends up getting through it before those active hitboxes come out. Almost ends up picking up that recovery. Effie turns around, gets one of his own. That second one would have surely killed.
Side air from Tyku, goes for a second side air. Gravity cancel neutral as Effie crosses, and that is going to disarm Effie. Tyku with a weapon in hand, but Effie underneath with the downlight recovery. Down sit comes out. Tyku with a small punish in that side air. Both of them close to kill. And at this rate, I think whoever gets the first stock is going to win the game.
I don't know. We've seen people go back and forth, but you're right. That has been the trend. We have seen comebacks, but we haven't seen comebacks to win the set. Or sorry, to win the game. We've only seen comebacks to take the stock and then even it up.
Side sit comes out, but Effie's in recovery. Both of them so close to kill percent. The recovery comes out, and Effie's still alive.
That Nyx defense, that is why I initially wanted to latch onto Nyx as a player compared to
That'll
Drax,
do it.
because of the high defense. The fact that he was able to stay alive there, that's huge. If he would have been pretty much any other gun character, he would have ended up falling, except for Baraz. He would have survived as well there, but any other gun character and pretty much any other Scythe character would have died, and that would have been, in your opinion, in my opinion, the lead that would have kept the game in his favor.
We're already seeing Effie try to get this lead. Tyku is gone for the recovery. Effie was able to interrupt with a weapon toss a little while ago. That time he gets the recovery, and it is going to even it up. But Effie, if the trends continue, Effie will be able to close out game 3.
I think this is a little bit more even than we're used to seeing the first stock going. Usually,
nice ground pound.
Are we going to see another one?
No.
Effie staying deep in the push-off column. Tyku side airing to the left instead of the right. Happened to get the wrong guess there as Effie stayed deep in that push-off column rather than going to touch the wall, reset his jumps. The downlight gets jumped over into the dare by Effie.
Tyku was really expecting Effie to kind of go back towards the wall. That's kind of the lower player mentality of go straight for the wall, try to recover. But Effie, very intelligent, burned enough of his tools to get back and pass Tyku.
It's ridiculous how close this game is right now.
Good dash back from Effie, dash in from Effie. 3 down lights in a row for Effie, and Tyku gets back up. The recovery hits for Effie. Tyku, he got his jumps.
The stock. Oh, Effie goes for the ground pound.
It drops.
It drops the recovery. Tyku's able to get back the weapon toss. You see Effie disengage, goes in for the dash down, so it doesn't end up hit.
There's the nair from Tyku. Underneath, he throws out a side sig.
He didn't get the in-sig there or the jump recovery that would have killed Effie.
Both of them. Oh, the down sig from Effie. Tyku is on his final stock, tournament stock for Tyku. Effie is close to being on his tournament stock as well. Tyku just needs to get one big hit on Effie. Effie, really good movement, trying to bait something from Tyku. Not going to kill.
Neutral light, not enough gas on it.
Recovery.
That'll kill.
Okay, Tyku evens it up. Going to be sticking with the bow. Effie on his final stock. This has been incredibly even.
It's been that minuscule lead, though, that you talked about. Like, you get the lead and you hold the lead, and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter how close you are to red at the end. If your opponent has no stocks, you won the game. It's not about how big the lead is. It's about having that final stock at the end of the game, getting that last hit. I think it's going to come down to that last hit, though.
Almost only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades.
And Brawlhalla and
Brawlhalla.
Effie versus Tyku in one of the most intense matches we've ever seen.
Dancing around each other. Effie going to be swapping on over to the scythe.
Effie a little bit worse for wear now compared to Tyku. He is now midway into red. Tyku just at the beginning has taken maybe 1 or 2 hits. Oh no, here's the string. Effie about to bring him into orange.
But he backs off, lets Tyku recompose himself. Tyku really trying to use these dash dancing to catch Effie with one of those bow starters. He's going for the sidelight a little too much, and Effie recognizes the ground pound hits. Tyku, he is running out. He's done for. Effie has done it. Effie pops off, and he has taken down his 2v2 partner. Tyku is out of the tournament, but they're going to hug it out.
The pop off
Bittersweet.
at the end. One of the most
Tears,
emotional
man.
sets we've ever seen before. We will see them again. They're not done. We will see them in 2v2.
I'm choking up.
This time, they'll be on the same team. They will have one another as a support system. That was insane.
It's not even over, and I'm choking up right now. Tyku's knocked out. Effie, a heartbreaking win, knocking Tyku out of the tournament, but Effie will continue on, and that will do it for our top 32 of 1v1s. We're going to be taking a short 10-minute break. When we come back, Fats and TK Breezy are going to be giving you the 2v2s.
Let's go ahead and read off the top 8 real quick. We do have the replay queued up. Let's get that going. Let's see which point in the match
this is game 3, Effie and Tyku.
This is the triple D light?
Yep, the
that
3
was
downlights.
Sick, dude. The one off the edge. The triple strong downlight. Oh my gosh, there's the ground pound. This is where we thought it could have happened. Effie with this safe float into the ground pound there to hit the other one. There was no way Tyku was going to make it back after that, but Effie was there to confirm it, to confirm the kill, confirm his placement into top 8. I'm going to read out the full top 8 that we have going forward because we do have some news based on what happened on Bifu Techie's stream if you didn't see
you
it.
Can see the graphic right there as well. Addy Mystic and Doe Brain are going to be fighting it out later today. LDZ and Bumi also. Lower down, you can see Dr. Faison and Blood Diamond are going to be fighting it out, and Effie and Pugsy are going to be at the bottom end of that bracket.
A little bit of an update on how Dr. Faison got there. He ended up knocking out Wrenched 2-1. Blood Diamond got there, knocking out Isidru with a 2-0. That is what happened on Bifu Techie's stream. That is the couple big pops in the crowd that we heard earlier during Effie and Tyku. That is your top 8 for 1v1 BCX number 2 here in Atlanta, Georgia. We will see that later today. But right after this break, we will have 2v2 top 8. That's going to be insane. Check the bracket, please. Look at the journey that these players have taken. Look at the journey that they have going forward. Smash.gg/BCX. Before we take this quick break, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors for this tournament. Twitch, obviously the platform that we are hosted on right now, how you are able to view this. Scepter monitors. I'm looking at one right here. I'm looking at one right there. Every monitor that has been looked at by a player or us in this tournament has been provided by Scepter. Please check out their website. If you're here, go check out their booth. See what they've got back there. A lot of cool stuff. Following that is going to be Azio. Every single mouse that you've seen on stage, you've seen them with the blue lights on them. You've seen them a lot at the setups, the rest of the places as well. Azio furnishing the mice, furnishing the keyboards as well. Keyboards are kind of a personal thing, so you might not see as many players using their keyboards, but any player who's needed a keyboard here could go up and rent a keyboard. Azio was just handing them out for people to use for this tournament. Shouts out to them as well. Then we have Astro as well. A lot of the headsets, some people have used their personal headsets, but pretty much the vast majority have been provided by Astro. Go check out their headsets. Very, very nice headsets out there. And then we have Gaming Generations, of course. If you've been to any gaming event ever, it's probably been furnished a lot by Gaming Generations, from the monitors sometimes to the actual computational devices, be that a console, be that a PC. Gaming Generations, huge, like kind of the big backbone of esports probably. And of course, last but not least, Blue Mammoth Games for making the game, making this entire event possible. Huge thank you to them for their tireless efforts. We're going to yak no longer. We're going to send you to the break. Faster we go to the break, faster we come back, faster we get to 2v2. My name is Sparky878.
I'm Duke X Fam.
We'll see you in just a few minutes. You will see a handful of different people up here, so stay tuned. Check out the other streams that everything is on. We'll see you later.